53. You're watching the playback. Still waiting for Jim to jump in. Go ahead and promote the show. That's what I'm about to do. Jump on the Twitter and other If you're in the chat, welcome. I can't see you because I'm trying to doing this a little different today, so forgive me.
Hello.
Hey, there's Jim. Jim, I can't see the chat. Can you see the chat? I'm trying to get to where I can promote us here.
Let me see.
Test, but it's not working now.
Are we still on?
Oh no, it's showing.
Take it on public?
Yeah, I changed it to public. Showing we're live, 6 watching.
Mario Paint, everyone singing. Mario Paint, I hope you're
singing. You said hello in the chat, but that's it. So.
Yeah.
Someone else, please, so we know you're there.
Mario Paint, Mario
Krista.
And I want you to come over so bad. I want you to come over so bad. I want you to come over so bad. I cleaned my room and found the mouse pad. Clicking away to the number.
It's a hello, dude.
Hello. Am I too loud now?
No, you're fine. Fine with me.
I feel like I'm
We
blasting.
always want the audience's input as to how things sound. Please do let us know. Where's the next Adam Lore song? Where is it? Where is it? Come on, come on.
Hello.
Okay, there we're getting somewhere. Yeah.
I'm a fan of the boom mic. So. There's a boom.
Dun 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 dun. Hey, come on, man. Where's the music?
Music.
I think I'm finally finding out how fast my new computer really is. It's pretty fast, but you can still tax it.
Let's try to go.
Swing all
Should I turn up my output level?
Yeah, sure, if you can. See what happens.
How's that?
I was trying to find Mr. Blur and turn him down just a little bit here. There. Say again?
I was testing a speaker there.
I don't think the mic's on, or you're not coming through the PA.
I'm coming through now?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that better?
You might step around there and turn that PA up a little bit, bro.
Just turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, because I don't know if the audience can hear you, it's okay, but I'm having trouble hearing you. So. Terrence Hypno Nipple, welcome to the chat. We got 9 people waiting for us.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
I'm up on top of this boom mic of yours.
I'm looking at my settings too, just in case. Bouja Hadeen says, low gain on the mics, music is normal.
Is this louder?
No, that doesn't sound any louder to me.
Doesn't sound any louder.
Select the mic. Same system. Yeah, because our setup over there is weird, man. Usually I've got us rolling pretty hot on the PA and then being picked up by that
Yeah.
condenser.
Is that better?
Not any different. Let's try that.
Is that? How's that?
I don't know what happened. It seemed like it was louder even earlier. I don't know what happened.
Shoot. Should I unplug the, Here, I'm going to try swapping it real quick.
All right. We still got another song or two to roll through. We're fine, man.
How's that?
Hey, there it is.
Is
What'd
that
you do
better?
different? Yeah.
I swapped off of the Samsung and onto a camera mic. I'm gonna try switching back because I like the Samsung Pro mic better.
How's
Yeah,
that?
sometimes that mic messes with us.
Is this better? Or am I quiet again?
No, that's quieter.
Maybe I'll unplug it and replug it back in.
Oh, weird. I couldn't figure out what was up. It's because when you click accept, it's still me logged in on Zoom. So it says I'm having a meeting with myself.
How's this? Am I better now?
Yeah. I know it could still stand to be louder.
I'm gonna unplug it and plug it back in. Should still be able to hear me. But
Yeah, we can hear you. That is an excellent question, Terrence. I think it's divine, infernal, and
How's that?
no, it's still low.
Still low. Is this better?
Yeah, that was different. What'd you do?
I just switched back to the web HD webcam.
You turned that PA up or not?
I'll turn it up. Sure. What about this?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Is that too loud?
No, not at all. It's still not very loud. I wonder what's wrong. It's weird.
How's this?
No, that's worse. Is that condenser microphone doesn't have a muffler on it, does it?
Yeah, it's got a muffler. How's this?
Pull it off of there.
Pull off the muffler?
Yeah, the black thing, take that off of there.
Maybe.
How's that?
Hey, that's a lot better.
I can't tell if it's is that the best so far?
Yeah, that's a lot more clear.
Can I turn mine I'm gonna turn the PA down a little bit. It's kind of overbearingly loud for me. How's this?
Yeah, that's fine.
Difference?
Yeah, you might have to kind of stay up on that mic you're on a little bit to...
I'll stand right on it.
Alrighty. Where's my obs? There it is. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Oops, I don't want to do that. But it's better like that. Nee. All right, we're getting close, folks.
Where's my chat? Here it is. Low gain. How's the mics?
What in the world? This thing jumps around every time. There, that's better. I think it's best like that. All right. Well, I say we get to the end of this next song and we better bust in here, huh? You down with that? Are you ready, sir?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine. I can hear you. Please do let us know out there in chat world.
How's this? Hey, I just switched. Is this worse? Can you hear me at all?
That's really quiet.
Back to this one.
Yeah, I'd stick with that, man. Whatever that is.
Okay.
Ludicrous Speed says, so glad you're continuing. I'm old school reason following corrupted history, searching truth. Aubrey has no vowels, unfortunately. That's interesting you say Aubrey. That's from the Jonathan McTimmons Aubrey project. I'm very curious about that stuff. All right, well, the next song's 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and it's an old favorite, so I'll crank this up, and when it's over, we're going to bust in on you guys. So here we go.
Don't look at the particle.
Go ahead and break the rules tonight and look straight at the particle target, please. Thank you.
And don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment. Don't look at the particle target now. Don't look at the particle target then. Don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment. Maybe they'll find a Higgs boson. Maybe they'll find a new lepton. Maybe they'll find a polyhedron.
Matrix said, I thought I had lost what I had only just found. Thank you guys.
Round, round galaxy. Don't look at the particle target now. Don't look at the particle target then. Don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment. Don't look at the particle target now. Don't look at the particle target then. Don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment.
Oh, that was it. I'm pausing it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live with Rx Only Picture Show number, what is it? 12? 16?
53.
53 times. And we've come over the rapids and here we are. Welcome to it and thank you for joining us in the chat. 16 people watching. Hi. Check that out. Oh, yeah. All right. So, what should we just get right into it?
Yeah, we could get into it. If you want.
Let's see. Well, we didn't get any new questions, right? We got some thanks. We really appreciate you guys' thanks, encouragement, support, all of the posts on the Discord. There's still a link to the Discord if you've never joined our Discord. It is a creature of its very own lineage. The link is at the very bottom of the description of the show that you're currently watching. There are a few other links there, like a link to sign up and support our show for a monthly amount. There's a pig there where Jim is that's full of some money too, and one day we're going to spend all that money doing cool stuff for you guys. And this week our plan is to, well, I had started an article about the origin of Picture Show, and I've got it here all marked up with a red pen, and I have the Google Documents version, and I was just going to read through it and make my corrections and get Jim's input and get the chat's input, field extra questions, add extra information, and just talk about how we ended up 53 deep.
Yeah. Nice.
Check this out. Hold on. There we go. Oh, I was going to read the numerology too. Let's do that real quick.
Oh, there you go.
Numerology and the divine triangle is a big part of how we ended up in this position, doing what we're doing. And you can do all your numerology kind of similar to astrology with this type of book and other ones. This is the one I found at a yard sale somewhere in Idaho, and you can read like your regular numerology, but you can also take a number and find out what they call the temporary vibration is. So let's find out what the temporary vibration of 53/8 is. What do you say, Jim?
That's a great idea.
Oh, and that's the way numerology works. If you've never looked into it, you reduce the numbers down. So 5 plus 3 equals 8. I can already tell you that 8 is like the number of money and power and karma. Like that's just the meaning of the number 8, just like the number 4 is the meaning of authority and drudgery and routine, and the number 2 is like the number of feminine energy or whatever. So 53/8 as a temporary vibration, sudden events, courage, discrimination. And I think that means to be discerning, not to judge people. Someone or something is about to catapult into or out of your life. That sounds right. The situation is intense. You should play the aggressor and take things into your own hands, which is exactly what we're doing. Keep your emotions under the command of reason and act justly. Challenging situations arise suddenly. You will need strength, courage, and perseverance to handle them. Business, finance, and the law may be involved. Deal wisely with whatever you encounter and use reason to discriminate among the facts presented. Then you will overcome all problems and maintain or achieve a position of authority. During this period, troubles come and go. And there is also correspondence to a tarot card and astrological correspondence, but I'm going to skip those because, whoa, dude. Whoa.
Hey,
What do you think of 53/8 for numerologically being in touch with our current show and status? Jim, how do you feel about that?
well, as usual, it totally blown my mind.
Yeah, it's as usual. It's on the tits.
Exactly.
But yeah, a quick update for folks. We don't have any new news on Tracy. Just so you know, we're just continuing to say prayers or send good energy. If we do ever find anything out, we'll certainly let you know. I did say in the Discord earlier that I encourage people to continue to support Tracy in whatever way, especially if you're already signed up financially as part of her club. I wouldn't pull back. I haven't seen any new posts or anything, but whatever she's doing, she's definitely going to need her income, and that is her main source of income. So that we're not really going to cover that tonight. That was all covered in the last show, but I just wanted to get that out of the way up front that we're still in the exact same position we were in. But I figured this is a great time. If we're going to continue, we might as well continue by starting before the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm a black hat. Did you know?
New hat.
Okay.
You're. Oh, hat. Did you say that you are a black hat?
Not really. No, I said that, but I'm not a black hat. I'm a good guy, man.
Yeah, it'd be great if we could tell the character of a person's soul by the color of hat they wear.
Well, the problem is, if you are a black hat, you probably always wear a white hat.
For sure.
And as soon as you start wearing a white hat, then the white hats identify that as a trick, and so then they either wear no hat, or they choose a colored hat, or they say screw it and wear a black hat, and so.
Well, wouldn't the white hats always wear a white hat? If you're a true white hat,
Like,
you wouldn't wear a black hat.
how am I doing here?
Eh. Multiple hats.
I'm always
Good
wearing
idea.
multiple hats. There, how's that? All
That's
right,
a-
let's get
now
started.
it-
Okay, let me get over here to our media exam cam and get us up on the.
What's up, Steven Sorensen?
So, let's cut this over. Can you see that too or not, Jim?
See what?
You can't see it. I guess, do you have the show playing?
I've got the show playing, and it's probably 8 seconds delayed.
Right. So, I
I've
guess
got
it's
the
not
chat
important.
popped out.
You don't have to be able to see it. That's okay.
Well, I can see it on the screen. I just I left my copy at work. Arr.
Oh, yeah, I was going to remind you when we were sitting there. So,
Yeah.
I'll just read it aloud as we go. I've got pre-story and opening image. I used a cute little writing device. Not cute. It's a pretty amazing writing device called... it's from the Save the Cat series. It's a script writing instructional device. And I used that as an outline when I wrote this stuff down. And on my notes here, I have pre-story and opening image crossed out. And I wrote respawn. Respawn. Because that's what I did way back before this whole thing started, is I just kind of respawned. So, I'm just going to start reading it, man. Let's see. I'm going to read the paragraph that's there, and then I'll make some amendments as we go. It says, I was standing outside of a fifth wheel trailer, putting all my belongings in my little blue car. And looks like I added the word crappy and travel here. Okay. I was standing outside of a crappy fifth wheel travel trailer. That sounds better.
Very descriptive.
Oh, and I added silver blue. It was a silver blue little car. I don't have that car anymore. Did you ever see that one? Did I get rid of it before?
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw it.
What in the hell? I wonder what had happened to that car. How strange.
Did you park it somewhere and then forget that you were a car owner?
No.
Still have the keys?
No. I definitely sold it. Oh, now you got me. I've got bad ions coming out of my soul for vehicles. Now, knock on wood, that's changed quite a bit. Like I haven't had any serious car trouble. Well, because A, I don't own a car. My girlfriend owns the car, and it's a very nice car, so that really helps. Really helps to buy a vehicle that's of quality, as opposed to my lifelong tradition of buying cars that are in the upper end value of $2,500 maximum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I know right now you've got a nice truck, but I assume that you've also owned some terrifically clunky cars somewhere back there too, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But
Definitely.
not only do I have a history of owning really crappy cars, like, I'm afraid to go to the Department of Licensing and find out how many cars are in my name that I didn't effectively get out of my name. Because it's probably dozens of cars.
Oh, yeah. They're probably being used in crimes all around the country.
Yeah. They probably are. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are impounded and some of them are under the ocean and all that stuff. But so
I had a Volkswagen Bug one year. It was when I was like a senior in high school. I bought one for $50. The sweet little car. It had holes in the floorboard where it had rusted through. I drove it around for a summer, and then I took it apart. I took the whole thing apart just to see what made it tick, and I was going to build a buggy with it, but by the end of the summer, I had this big mess, and so I ended up just selling the motor to somebody for $50.
Yeah, that's a classic Volkswagen Bug story.
Yeah.
And this is the point where you're supposed to say, I wish I had that car right now.
Oh, yeah. There's like 8 bolts in the bottom of that thing that if you take those 8 bolts out, you can totally remove the top from the bottom. You can take the body off of the frame.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty slick.
Yeah, I hear the guy that designed that car was pretty smart.
Yeah. What was it designed by Hitler?
Yeah, that was the joke. I really doubt he actually designed it himself. Although that is a pretty funny picture in your mind. Like Hitler with the graphing paper. And he's like, scratching his little tiny mustache.
His little mustache. Sticking his tongue out one side like Michael Jordan.
Drawing the curve of the bug.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm trying to remember if I ever owned a bug. I know my mom had one because I remember rooting around in the seats and getting all the change and everything to get gasoline. And it was like we only needed like less than $1 in change and we could get enough gas to drive around for a couple days. I think gas was like 40 or 60 cents a gallon.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like if we were almost out of money and gas, we would like rifle the floorboards and reach our hands down through past the cushions of the seats and, you know, go to the gas pump and just pump a little bit of gas. So anyways, so here I was standing outside a crappy fifth wheel travel trailer, putting all my belongings in my little silver blue car. I closed the door and looked through the back window. Let's see. Everything I owned was stuffed into a suitcase and a trunk. Okay.
There's a lot of freedom in that particular statement.
There is.
Scary.
It is. Yeah, I was going to say, most people don't have the tenacity to live that way. Everything I owned was stuffed into a suitcase and a trunk. Got to change that to into. Are you reading the chat? I just realized this is really overwhelming now. Like, of course, this is obviously a real episode of Picture Show because it seems like a really good idea, and then you start doing it, and you're like, oh God, what am I trying to do?
Yeah.
If I'm not sure, I can always just use this magnifying glass to change hats. See, like that. There. That's better.
Krista's first car was a van.
Yeah, first car stories are great. If you see a really good one, we'll stop and talk about it. I kind of want to hear about Krista's van. What color of van?
Yeah, that's a good question. She says she hit mailboxes with it.
On purpose?
That's another good question. Vans are awesome.
There's no offense, Krista, but I could totally see you like gunning down the gas and steering intentionally towards mailboxes.
You could kill some mailboxes with a van.
Oh yeah. I remember when my brothers got in trouble because they were playing mailbox baseball.
Well,
I never did that because I know how old men out in the country are. They will go pour their whole mail. They will like get one of those big mailboxes and put a small mailbox inside and pour cement in the space in between and put the thing on top of a solid steel pole or something.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
You know, so you go hit it with a baseball bat and change your life forever.
Yeah. I had a party in high school one time, and I took pictures of the house after my parents left. Had a party, you know, moved all the furniture into one of the rooms so that nothing would get broken, and like totally returned everything back into its, you know, spot after the party. I cleaned everything up. There was no evidence except for somebody came over to my house and parked in the lawn and then took off at the end of the night and backed over the mailbox and totally flattened it. I didn't even notice it, you know, cleaning up the house, making everything perfect. They came home and they're like, what happened to the mailbox? I was like, oh, I don't know.
Did that cause you to become caught, or did you weasel out of it?
I think I weaseled out of it.
Just kind of a shrug, and so you're not worried about the fam maybe watching this episode and finally getting the heads up on what really happened?
Oh shit. Plug your ears, Mom.
Yeah, there's a guy I saw in the chat. I'm not going to mention his name, but we used to party pretty hardy at his parents' house, and they had a pretty dang nice house. And I remember one time, we would always be trying to smuggle like whole hefty black garbage bags up out of the house like in a hurry, and we had to get it off the property too, you know, because people aren't stupid. If they go check their garbage can and it's just full of Keystone ice cans, then it's pretty easy to put two and two together at that point. But I remember one time we were all good except for there was like 2 or 3 40-ounce bottles down hiding behind the guitar amp in the living room. And so we went down there acting like we were just putting the gear away. Like, oh, we got to get this gear and put it upstairs, you know. While you guys were gone, we were playing some music. And I remember trying to carry the amp, and it's going cling, ching, clink, like making all these glass bottle noises. And we're just like, oh, God. Yeah, those were the good old days.
Yeah, those were the good old days. Yeah, it's always that one little thing that gets you caught.
Yeah.
You know, like I never checked the fridge to see if somebody had left a beer in the fridge one time, and there was one beer right in the fridge.
Well, the thing is that you're all good when you start the party and everybody's in agreement, and it's going to be fine. And then everybody gets drunk and all that goes out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that same house that I was talking about. It had a really nice kitchen island, and I remember this girl came from downstairs with a roll of packing tape, and she taped it to a chair and started to run around the kitchen island. Like just, you know, just like decorating with bunting, only it was packing tape, you know.
Oh, sweet.
It was fun for everybody except for the guy hosting, because he's already kind of a high-strung, like anxiety type guy. Not real bad, but he's similar to you. Like, he sees the future enough that he knows, like, things could go bad, and he can imagine what it might be that would go bad. So yeah, the look on his face when he had to stop that girl from running around his kitchen island with tape was priceless. That was pretty priceless.
It was probably the same look that was on my face when I came into the kitchen, and everybody was rolling on the floor and ducking behind the island, laughing, like tears were coming out of their eyes. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And then I look over at the microwave, and it's just like sparks. Somebody dumped the whole silverware drawer into the microwave and put it on like 9 minutes.
Nice.
Just like sparks, 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 sparks.
Oh yeah, no, this guy I'm talking about, he would have, that would have been it. He'd have kicked us all out immediately. Because I remember, he got the tape away from the girl, demanded to know what in the hell she was thinking, and then sternly warned her that was her one and only warning, and that she would be having to escort herself on foot away from this location if she did anything else that stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly I was just running around, turning the stereo down, and then going outside to make sure nobody was smoking weed in the front yard. And then turn back up. So I'd run back in and turn the stereo back down. Always like trying to clean up. Don't put your drink there. No. It would have been a lot more fun at somebody else's house, for sure. But then I didn't have to drive, so that was nice.
Yeah. Oh, I see Harrison is here. Hi, Harrison. Isn't it a little late for you? Oh, hey, Ryan Martin must have been at that party. You're right, Ryan. It wasn't the island. That would have been... My brain is trying to take the stupid audacity of that individual and reduce it way down to something reasonable. It was the entire section of the kitchen, dining room, and one of the living rooms. It was like a whole section of the house.
Yeah, they always catch you with the overly clean house.
That's right. Ryan's true. They always know, because why? Because the house is cleaner than it was when they left. Now, what other explanation is it that young boys have decided to become voracious in their cleaning ability?
Yeah.
Other than that, they did something that they need to hide.
For sure. Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you think reading this thing and editing is going to work, or should I just try and read through the red copy?
Well, you can read it.
I mean, look at.
Were you editing on the paper? I mean, on the.
Well, I was editing
screen?
live. I was trying to multitask here, trying to get this done. Kind of the same as you sculpting on the show. I figure that's a bonus. Hey, we've slated in some time for you to get your art done while we're live. See, so I had standing outside a crappy fifth wheel trailer, putting all my belongings in a little silver blue car. I closed the door and looked through the back window. Everything I owned was stuffed into a suitcase and a trunk. And I had written there, everything a gambler needs, but I think I'm going to take that out. Because that's really just a tip of the hat to myself. That's a line from a song we heard earlier. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. We did hear that song earlier.
A few days prior, at a yard sale in Post Falls, Idaho, I'd purchased a numerology book.
Nice.
Along with a bunch of 90s hip-hop single cassettes.
Did you get every single cassette?
I finally sold those single cassettes. That just reminded me. I got an outstanding bill, and some stuff I need to move out of a little antique store booth. But yeah, those cassettes sold at my little antique store booth that I've been running. It was like 90s hip-hop, good stuff, man. Like Boys to Men, and I think there was at least one like newer crappy Prince single. They were all singles, and I did listen to a few of them because the car had a tape deck. But cassette singles, I don't know how anyone ever did that.
Did you have any who?
No, there was no who.
Guess who?
The Guess Who?
Who let the dogs out?
Who's on? Is it What's on First? Isn't it What's on First?
No, it's what's on first? Who let the dogs out?
I was watching videos with my girlfriend on YouTube, and it was What's on First was the video.
It's on first. Right?
TLC, there you go, Snake Jones. Yeah. Krista says she likes the lyric. I like the lyric too. I don't know. A bag of lime and a shovel. Hey, what? Hold on. That's why Jim keeps up with the chat. So a few days prior to yard sale in Post Office, Idaho, purchased numerology book along with 90s hip hop single cassettes. I was living and renting a room in a house with 3 other Christian gentlemen. It was a fine arrangement, but I could tell it was not for me. Something wasn't right. So I'm sure I changed that too. Where am I? This is hard, you guys. This is hard. Oh, at the time, I was living and renting a room. So I had guys instead of gentlemen. I'm downgrading these guys. They were gentlemen at one point. Now they're just guys. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should just read through it.
Yeah, you can read it.
I'm going to read through the original draft for you guys, so because it's too broken up and you're never going to get the story. What makes who's on first? What makes an appearance in the sketch? I don't know what makes an appearance on the sketch, Harrison. And I don't know who's on first either. Oh yeah, Jim's got it. Yeah, it's Who Let the Dogs Out. What's your favorite band?
Guess who?
Who?
No, not the Who. Guess who?
Oh, the Guess Who. Didn't they write a song about a Canadian girl?
What?
It's a Canadian woman, stay away from me.
Oh,
Canadian
yeah.
woman. Isn't that?
Was that Guess? I
No, the
was it
Guess Who's from Canada and it's American woman.
Guess Who's from Canada? Isn't Jordan Peterson from Canada?
Unfortunately. I think that's, I don't know, Canada. Do you think when people ask about Jordan Peterson, Canadians say, "Oh, geez, sorry"? That. I really liked Jordan Peterson for a while, and I did his whole little thing. I gave him the money so I could go through his little past authoring, present authoring, future authoring thing, and I'd say it really helped me to get a better perspective on my life. But I just couldn't believe that he couldn't make a definitive statement about the Jews. It really shocked me. Not that he needs to go off the deep end like Owen Benjamin or something, but and I'm not putting Owen down, but he's warning you that he's a comic for a reason. There's no reason to endlessly ramble and rant on, but he seemed like he was having such a hard time, and the reason I thought it was weird was because he was promoting that Solzhenitsyn book, the Gulag Archipelago.
Archipelago?
Yeah, I love that word, but it is kind of hard to say. And, Solzhenitsyn's really famous for writing another book that's like called 200 Years History with the Jews, or, Our History Together. And obviously it's critical of Jewish people. So it really shocked me that he would be so gung-ho to insist everybody read that other book. And then when some guy calls him out on the mic, like, "But what about the Jews, Jordan?" He's like, it's not like you don't know. Anyone that's read the history knows.
Kermit in the hot seat.
Look at Ludacris says, without Tracy, I find it hard to follow. You need an anchor. Well, you got to go back. If you guys are having a hard time with this, you need to go back and watch some of the original shows, and you'll understand right away. It used to be a lot more chaotic.
Yeah, a little more chaotic.
But yeah, here I'll just read the story that way, because we do have a story. See, I have something prepared. I spent all this time writing it. I might as well do something with it. So
where are we at?
We left off with me renting a room in a house with 3 other Christian gentlemen. It was a fine arrangement, but I could tell it was not for me. Something wasn't right. I'd landed in Idaho as a step towards recovery from my toxic past. A horrible relationship had finally ended, children in foster care and then living with relatives. In Idaho, I was trying to stay nearby because my children were living here. A strange little Indian Mormon lady offered me a chance to stay on her property instead of living with these 3 plain yogurt Christian guys in a cookie cutter house. I was distracting myself from the thought, rifling through this numerology book and writing down my numbers. All of the numbers were lining up. Skeptical and using the book as a distraction, I tricked myself into the magical and numinous. My heart and gut connected. The book was telling me to take her up on the offer and go live in the country on her property. And I did. This was the first time I'd packed and left. It was twice now in less than a month. Right now, that doesn't seem right. Oh, it wasn't, yeah. This wasn't the first time I'd packed and left. It was twice now in less than a month. I hadn't signed a contract. I disappointed the guy who owned the house when I let him know that I was weaseling out of the deal. I put everything in my little blue car and I went to her property. She had offered me a chance to refurbish a little shack and live in it. I was imagining remaking it into an artist loft. It had a little pig-nosed wood stove in the corner, and it was about the size of a rich woman's closet. And that's when the Wheel of Fortune turned down. Oh, Fortuna! The next part of this story is weird. So the strange little Mormon Indian lady's insane daughter had arrived at the exact moment that I did. So this is weird, right? So this little old lady lived nearby to where I wanted to be in rural Idaho. And when I'd come out to visit, I told her my whole story. And she was like, you should move out here. And I was kind of thinking about it, but I wasn't really necessarily going to do it. And so the numerology book really encouraged me to do it. You know what I mean? Like the numbers lined up. It said what you're going to do next and what you need in life is to go wander in the woods and be close to the mountains. And so I did. And when I did, this lady's daughter arrived at the identical time, same day, having left her girlfriend and had her car also full of her stuff. So it was like a total double whammy bad luck, you know. So her car was also full. She was a low trust person and she felt threatened by me. Oh boy, did she ever. We tried to coexist for a few days, but it was a no-go. She got angry over nonsense and even started attacking me. She threw rocks and a bottle of apple juice at me. That's true. I tried to fix and move a lawnmower, and she freaked out and started throwing rocks at me. Like throwing rocks at me, not small rocks like pelting me with pebbles. Like she was picking up river rocks and heaving them at me.
How do you like them apples?
I don't. How do you like them apple juice? She actually hit me with the apple juice. Because I told her, it's fine, I'll leave. And I turned around to go away, and she picked up one of those plastic jugs of apple juice, you know, like the full-size, maybe half gallon, and threw it at my back. So, thankfully, it was a plastic bottle.
What year is this? Snake Jones asked.
This is probably 2014. I think it's all right. I came and met you 2015, right, Jim?
4 years ago, whatever that means. That's it.
Yeah, so this was probably middle to late 2014. Eventually, I escaped across the dirt road and set up shop in my uncle's fifth-wheel trailer. He lived back in the valley with his wife and his adopted son and my two daughters. The plan was to move out to this property. My plan was to do some work and get it ready while living in the shack. I thought I'd be able to come across the street and do some work and go back to my little artist shack. The crazy daughter was here now, and we were in a battle. The winter was coming, and it was getting cold. No heat, no running water, no facilities. That's over at the trailer. I could still use the facilities across the street, but it was tense, even dangerous. That girl realized I was slated to get the shack, and she started refurbishing it herself. Eventually, I came and helped her out because I knew that the jig was up. And we actually kind of got along. I think I still have like either a pair of pants or a t-shirt that she gave me or something. You know, she wasn't a bad person, truly, just unstable. And she felt threatened by me because she needed a place to go. She was breaking up her relationship. And when she came to her one safe spot, this dude right here was there. She didn't like it. The girl realized I was slated to get the shack, and yeah, okay. So I just kind of went over that. She just left her girlfriend. As a matter of fate, we both arrived at the identical moment, trying to occupy the identical real estate. So let's see. Real estate. Me and Jim both looked at the chat, and that's how you get dead air. The strange Indian Mormon woman was her mother. I knew better than to press the issue. I had the original offer to rent the place and fix it up. I had job prospects at the local Safeway up the road, but I didn't expect her to choose me over her flesh and blood. Oh, this isn't very nice, Sean. This fat, ugly, soul-damaged lesbian was going to push me off the spot. I was not going to fight her. That's not a very kind description.
John.
But I did not want to overwinter in North Idaho in a fifth wheel with no electricity or gas. So it goes. This numerology book had told me everything. It had opened the path for me to follow my intuition and leave behind the comfortable life of a Christian bachelor cohabitating with other semi-righteous fellas. Had the quiet voice of my gut tricked me? I did what it said, and I was immediately chased away. I was confused. I was back in the numerology book. I was walking in the woods because that's what the book said I would do. It's true, I miss those woods. So, the bureaucratic hassle of trying to apply online for a job at Safeway while living in the rural wilderness and using someone else's Wi-Fi despite their daughter hating you and feeling threatened by you, well, it was a terrific stress and hassle. I eventually had to go and sit at the old-fashioned PC with the cathode ray tube monitor and what looked like Windows XP. The manager was helping me apply. It was literally the 10th time I'd done it. It still wasn't working. That was driving me crazy, Jim. Like, I tried and tried and tried sitting, using their Wi-Fi to do the online application process for Safeway, and you can't apply any other way. There's no way to fill out a paper application. And so I finally went up to the Safeway and had the manager help me, and it still took me 4 or 5 more times using their computer at Safeway with her help. And I'm not exactly computer illiterate, so it still wasn't working. I was still hammering away. Finally, my application was submitted. Weeks went by with no answers to my prospects. Finally, the day came when they were having a job fair up at Safeway, and all the locals told me that this was when the hiring was done. I was probably a shoo-in. Now I got to add something here. So it's pretty likely I would have got hired, and it was really bothering me because everyone, some of my own relatives included, were saying, "Oh yeah, once you've worked there at Safeway for 4 or 5 years, you know, you'll get a higher wage and you'll be set. It's a union job and all the benefits are great." And I'm looking at all these people thinking, you guys think I'm gonna work at Safeway for 5 years? Like, I can't imagine. I mean, I don't know. If you gave me the whole produce section and the floral department, maybe I could work at Safeway for 5 years, but what do you think? You guys out there in the chat, you think I'd fit in good at Safeway? I don't. So let's see.
I think you'd slowly shrivel up and die at Safeway.
Well, right about that time when I was about to shrivel up and die, what would happen is I'd wake up in a bad mood, and then somebody at Safeway who's just a regular old customer, maybe having a bad day too, would catch some information from me that would allow me to be dismissed immediately. That's usually how that goes. All right, so where were we here? Am I boring you guys to death yet?
No, it's good.
Okay, because this is the truth. This is all true. I'm kind of vivisecting myself here. The day came, I was ready to accept my fate and work for Safeway. At the time, I felt like I was going to have to do it. Safeway in a town of roughly 2,100 people. I woke up the day of the job fair and started getting ready. My gut was screaming. Put everything in your car and drive back to Walla Walla. I was screaming back. No! And I was thinking about working for Safeway and living through the winter in Idaho while having to rely on the strange little Indian Mormon lady for showers and other help. The voice was still loud in my gut. Put everything in your car and drive back to Walla Walla. I was fighting the feeling, but I was losing. I didn't want to be in North Idaho, even if my children were nearby, across the state line. I was in tune with the voice of the Holy Spirit, and it was warning me that I better leave this place. So I did. I had $40, and my car had a bad CV joint. Uncle was shattered by the news that I was going. I didn't even have a place to stay until I got to his house in Spokane and made a phone call to my best friend in high school. And that's Ryan Martin. Thank you, Ryan. You really saved my ass. I don't know if you realize how much I appreciate your help in life. Let's see. Well, I lost my place. It's making me tear up, man. Uncle thought I was relapsing with hard drugs. I drove away with my suitcase and my trunk. A swirl of crazy things happened. By God's grace, I had a room at a friend's house for 3 weeks. Ironically, I moved into his father's house after that for almost a month. I was starting to doubt my decision-making and wonder about my luck, and then my Aunt Shelley took me in. She had a crappy house. It was tiny. It smelled like stale smoke and dogs. I was sleeping on the couch and living out of a suitcase.
Oh, Aunt Shelley.
Oh, there's a quote here from a secret character. We considered talking about this secret character right here this week, but we're going to have to save this. But I don't know why I stuck this in there, but it says, I'm always stuffing things into drawers with both hands and rifling through them the same way. The Seaman. Who's the Seaman? Ain't it the truth? Shit, I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
So
You got to rifle through a drawer. There's only one way to go through a drawer, not to rifle through it.
yeah. Well, no, there's another way. You take the whole drawer out and remove everything one item carefully at a time.
Dump it on the floor. I wonder if anybody ever rifles through a pistol drawer.
That's well, you know, if you're doing that, you're probably not okay. No one should you shouldn't rifle through the pistol drawer. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, it kind of goes without saying, right?
That's a great line, rifling through the pistol drawer. So that makes me want to pistol through the rifle cupboard.
Yeah, it definitely makes you want to do that.
Let's pistol through
I was
the
gonna
rifle
say
cupboard
rifle
together.
drawer. I was thinking one of those big long drawers that goes under a bed or something.
Yeah. So here I'm gonna look at my pink reference markup here, because see so that was the pre-story and the opening image, and I guess the opening image is me standing there looking through the windows of my car with just a suitcase and a trunk. And so now we've made it all the way to theme stated and setup. So like I said, folks, this is all from the outline that I used for this is from the Save the Cat series. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he's an excellent Jewish scriptwriter. Like, he's an excellent, huge script guy, you know, like a writer for Hollywood. And this is a really good outline. Some people hate it, some people really love it. But you can, if you go study it, you can identify all of these plot points in almost any show or movie, or like even in a commercial. Like, you can find all 15 points in a well-made commercial. And so if you're a writer, it's well worth looking at the Save the Cat stuff. It's called Beats, 15 beats, like the beats of a song or the beats of your heart. But so the theme stated and the setup. So I heard about Jim from a mutual friend. He was a cool guy, allegedly. He owned a wax shop where they made dolphins and other sea life. There was some bragging about having the sparkly eyes, talking about eye contact and how to pick up women. As fate would have it, some few nights later, I was out for a beer with my aunt and my mutual friend. He's a heavy metal guy. Here comes Jim. Our heavy metal friend introduces us. We hit it off. Our buddy has his girlfriend with him, and we're all hitting it off and drinking and talking. It comes up in conversation that Jim owns the wax shop. They do an ancient form of artwork called lost wax casting, high-end stuff. Jim is hinting around that he could use some help, and I tell him I would definitely be interested in a job because I was unemployed. He confirms, "You're looking for a job?" I say I am. Most certainly am with certainty. I think I actually said that. We make a deal that I'll meet him the next morning, early, for an interview. Now, correct me if I get anything wrong here, Jim. You were there.
Yeah.
We decide to proceed drinking a few more beers, or at a few more bars. Aunt Shelley goes home, so it's just me, heavy metal, and his girlfriend, and the new guy, Jim. I'm thinking about the job, and I like this guy. He seems mellow and cool. Heavy metal is complaining that he's being a bit flirty. After all, this is the guy with the sparkly eyes, and I'm seeing a little bit here and there, but nothing too drastic. People flirt. I'm a horrible flirt. What's the big deal? He's not making advances or anything. So we move on to a karaoke bar because I'm a singer, and Mr. Heavy Metal is a kick-ass guitar player, and his girl is a singer, and it turns out later, Jim's also a singer. We try to get to the karaoke bar, but we get turned away at the door because Heavy Metal's been 86'd. He'd forgotten. We were in two cars. So the catalyst, here's the catalyst of the story. Somehow, from leaving the door to getting to the parking lot, back to Jim's truck, and the other guys, oh, see this is messed up here. Let's see what I have edited here. Because I'll tell you guys a secret. I used voice to text to write some of this, so some of the grammar is off. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, voice to text sucks.
Hey, if it helps you get something done, though, because I probably wouldn't have typed all this out.
Yeah, very true.
Well, I said I would, so. So where am I? But from the door back to the parking lot, Heavy Metal is now pissed and threatening to attack Jim. I've just met this new guy, but Heavy Metal is the let's beat the shit out of each other in the middle of the street kind of guy. I'm kind of concerned for this new guy. He was flirting a bit, so it's on him, but Heavy Metal seems out of line. I'm trying to chill it up. Metal is actually shoving and taking a few swings. Knocks the wing window out of Jim's truck. What the fuck? Let's just at least let this guy get home, man. We part ways, and I continue with Heavy Metal and his girlfriend. I'll talk to Jim tomorrow. That was kind of weird. We end up bouncing to a few more bars. We're on foot now. At the next bar, there's a fire pit outside, and there's people with musical instruments. They recognize me and Heavy Metal and call us into the fray. We're taking turns playing and singing songs, and all of a sudden, Heavy Metal vanishes. I go looking for him everywhere. Turns out later he's been kicked out of this place too. I go marching in the streets, screaming his name at the top of my lungs, trying to find him. I'm stuck with his girl. Eventually he shows up banging on the glass and points angrily for me to come outside. I'm oblivious, pretty drunk. He's pretty drunk and loaded too. We're walking across the street to the parking lot, and I can tell he's being aggressive. Before I realize what's happened, he's taking swipes at me, and I don't really remember it all. I lost my phone. I got a scab on my head, and I walk back to my aunt's house. I'm so pissed off now. I'm drunk and I'm enraged. I want to find my pocket knife and go stab Heavy Metal a few times to get even. I threatened to keep all of his gear that's stashed at my aunt's house, and I'm cursing him for an hour. My aunt finally talked me into smoking a bowl of weed, and I chilled out. So here's the real moment of truth. Debate and break into two. So I'm so hungover the next day that there's no way I'm going to the job interview with Jim. I feel the creeping self-loathing of being a person whose drug and alcohol abuse is regularly hedging and preventing him from accomplishing anything at all. I sleep till past noon, consider calling, but I don't. I don't have a phone. I try to get a hold of Heavy Metal even though I'm pissed. I blow off the day. I don't remember. The next day I show up at the scheduled 8 a.m. time. I think I'm 24 hours and 10 minutes late. I come in through the back door. I'm still having my doubts. I'm standing at the wrong end of the building. All of the employees and all of the equipment are stacked between me and the front desk area where Jim and his assistant are discussing things. I hesitate and look far down the room. It's a big, wide, open room. A strange place. I consider turning around and walking out. Jim sees me. I say, oh, fuck it, and I march all the way through to where Jim is standing with his assistant girl. So do I still have the job or not? I know I'm a full day late, but Heavy Metal beat me up too, and I took off my hat to show him that I've got a weeping scrape on my forehead, hidden underneath. I can tell we're both hungover. Jim acknowledges everything with his eyes and gestures me towards a man who's pouring wax from a huge hot pot. He says, just go over there with him. Just go over there with him. Says, I do as he says, and my apprenticeship into Lost Wax casting begins. Okay, well, that seems like a good place for an intermission.
Yeah. Well, just for a point of clarification, I wasn't flirting with Heavy Metal's girlfriend on purpose. If it seemed
I tried to make that clear that it's just, I mean, I flirt with everything, not just everyone, with everything. And luckily I got a girlfriend who recognizes that and doesn't see it as a problem, but a jealous person. The real thing is Heavy Metal is kind of a suspicious, jealous guy. You know, I'm not putting him down or nothing, but he just has that tendency to not necessarily hope for the best in people. And I think the bigger thing was having less confidence in his girl and not so much that he thought you were, you know. The farther we got into the night, the more loaded we all were, and he already had it in his mind that things weren't right, so, but...
Yeah.
There you go. Krista's got it right. He can't help the sparkly eyes. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
We could rewrite that Eagles song for you, Jim.
What's that?
You can't help your sparkling eyes. And your slack is a thin disguise.
Oh, slack.
Oh, slack. So I was looking at the chat here. That's pretty accurate, Snake. My name is SB, and this is my heterosexual life mate, Jim. Hey, Chopper CPR or whatever, CHCPR1. Hey, my nature, good eye. So it goes. A little nod to Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut Jr. is my favorite author of all time. So very, very, very keen of you to notice that.
Yeah, he's got some good books. I just, SB just, over the last year, kind of turned me on to some Kurt Vonnegut Jr. The Junior?
Yeah, people usually just call him Kurt Vonnegut, but he is a junior.
Slapstick, that's a good one.
Slapstick is outrageous.
I think maybe my favorite one.
Yeah, if you're going to start, I don't know if I would necessarily start with Slapstick because it's so far out. I can digress for a second and tell you guys the story. So I used to... Oh, and I need to keep changing hats. You got to remind me if you see me wearing the same hat. Those two are too similar. You can't really tell the difference, huh? So here, hold on. I thought it would be funny if I grabbed 4 black hats and kept changing them. How am I doing so far? Yeah, there. So, my grandmother was obsessed with horror fiction and horror movies, and really, to be completely blunt, she's kind of a horrible person, so it made sense. But, I picked up her habits, you know, like read Stephen King, Clive, what's his name? Clive, is it Cussler? Or Clive Barker? John Saul. Did you ever read any of those horror fiction novels, Jim?
Oh, yeah. I used to read, I think, Dean Koontz.
There we go, yeah, Dean Koontz.
Stephen Koontz, which I think he picked up one of the couple names from a couple bigger authors, I think. Saucer, I think, was one of his. But yeah, I used to like Dean Koontz was pretty good. Or real page turners.
Yeah, Dean Koontz was probably the best of all those guys, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Stephen King was pretty good. I think it was more mainstream. I really loved the Dark Tower series. I found a Dark Tower book. It was like a graphic novel. Well, not really graphic. It was illustrated with these beautiful paintings, and I was just like, wow. And flipping through it, it just had me sold because there's all this like disparate stuff, like stuff that doesn't. How did they get from here to here? I'm gonna have to read it.
Yeah, I've never seen that. That sounds interesting. So it was the Dark Tower, only it was also an illustrated novel?
Yeah, well, no, it had like plates. It had painted, like every two or three chapters had there was a painted illustration from the story.
So was it like a coffee table book?
No, it was like it was about this big. It was like a.
It's about the same size as this numerology book.
Yeah. I might have it over here.
And it was hard copy or softbound?
It was soft.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I only think I read the first one of those. Now that's one I wouldn't mind going listen to or read again. But long story short, I got fed up with so many Stephen King, John Saul type books, and I was attending the Walla Walla Community College at the time, and so I went into the librarian, and I told her I've been reading almost nothing but horror fiction for as long as I can remember, except for maybe reading Mark Twain and some of the other stuff assigned in high school. I wasn't really a big nonfiction guy back then quite yet. You found it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm glad you still have it.
Some of those illustrations. This is the book.
But so that librarian changed my life forever because I said I got to do something other than this horror fiction. I can't hang with it anymore. You got to help me out here. And so she gave me check that out, folks. Yeah, those are nice.
It's like a trail of bodies leading to the gunslinger, the whole town that attacked him, and he killed them all.
And doesn't the gunslinger's right hand get injured or something?
Yeah, that's later on. It gets or clipped off by a giant lobster or crab.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I only read the first book, and I don't remember anything about it. Crows. But yeah, the lady gave me Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut and Jitterbug Perfume by Tom Robbins. Oh, the full spread. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And it just changed my life forever, man. I was so blown away, especially by Kurt Vonnegut. That book, Cat's Cradle, to me, that's a great start because that's where I started. But it's a short book, and it's so full of weirdness in a good way, you know. Kurt Vonnegut Jr. really doesn't write quite the same as other people. That's pretty.
Yeah.
I'd say he doesn't develop characters and make set scenes and all the stuff that you would consider regular literature or plot formation. He doesn't really do that. He just kind of uses his characters like sock puppets to set up jokes, you know. But it really works for him. And did you know that he was actually working for a General Electric Corporation as a shill for them in the press? When he found that he could make more money writing science fiction stories. And so he just quit, eventually wrote enough and submitted enough stories to be making enough money to support himself and his wife and his family just by writing science fiction stories, and actually made enough to quit working for GE because he was like shilling their technology, you know, like they'd pay him to go write articles and get published in newspapers and stuff so that it looked like, you know, really it's just PR for them. but it just looked like somebody reporting, you know. We're used to it now, so we see it all the time, but that's why his first book is amazing too, and it's a really prophetic book. It's called Player Piano, and it's all about automation, you know, the world we're heading into right now, where the robots are going to do everything and all the poor people are going to be on the wrong side of the river. And if you've never read that book, it's amazing. It's an amazing book.
One?
It's called Player Piano.
Oh yeah, I haven't read that one.
It's really good. Now, it's a little more dry. I think it's 1959, Player Piano is. So that's a while ago. But
The Sirens of
Titan.
Venus? Titan.
Yeah.
Titan.
That's a great book, too. That makes me think of Christopher Knowles.
Tralfamadorians.
Yeah. The Tralfamadorians, they see us weird because they exist in the fourth dimension. So they can see us like a big worm. I guess it's got a dead body at one end and a little tiny baby at the other. Strange.
Yeah. An undulating worm. With our infant self and our deceased self.
Yeah.
Together.
Somebody draw that up for me real quick. Esoteric accountability, buddy. That's good, Harrison. That's good. Everybody, if you're going to be in the chat during Rx Only Picture Show, please pick an esoteric accountability buddy. And make sure that you don't let them get out of your sight.
Don't lose your esoteric accountability buddy.
Stay with them at all times. Otherwise, you put yourself and them and everyone else in danger.
If you get in too deep, sit down and read about moon hoax landings.
Yeah, everybody sit in a semicircle and raise your hand if you have a conspiracy you think no one's ever heard of before. So I was just glancing at the chat real quick before we carry on. If you'd like to carry on, I mean, there's a good stopping point if you guys want to stop there and read more.
I've got a Mandela effect that I kind of think might be one, because I used to watch Paddington Bear when I was a kid, and he used to have this speech impediment where he would pronounce his R's with a W sound, like Bob Walters.
Yeah.
You know? And I was looking for it the other day, and he didn't have any kind of speech impediment at all. Maybe I'm just remembering it wrong, but it kind of stuck out to me when I was a kid. It's like, why does this guy talk like this?
Yeah, does anybody in the chat remember that? You guys remember Paddington talking like a Baba Wawa? I guess we just can't wait forever for the answer. I just saw something interesting here, Jim. It says, I always figured SB was the heavy metal guy and Jim the hip-hop guy. Now, I don't know if Jim was ever really a hip-hop guy. I was a hip-hop guy before I was a heavy metal guy, though.
I was never super hip-hoppy. I could break dance. Well, not spin on my head, but...
Right, a b-boying.
Bust some moves to some Michael Jackson.
Do the stuff with your legs, do the crazy legs.
A little bit.
Yeah, I totally was a hip-hop dancer in junior high, and it made me super popular when I moved from California up here to Walla Walla, that I like had a mullet and an earring and a gold chain and a little Playboy on my shirt, and I had hammer pants and long hair in the back of my mullet with the shaved sides and the little lines in my hair. And I would wear my overalls with one strap down and off the back. Like somewhere there's pictures of me dancing on stage with girls at the state fair, or at the Walla Walla local fair. Because I was the hip-hop guy.
Hippity hoppity.
Oh, they hated me. I'm surprised no Hicks beat me up. I mean, I really am surprised. A few threatened to, but I just acted like I was really tough. They would have stomped my guts out. So I was just glancing at the chat here. Maybe we'll keep reading here. Snake Jones is talking about Vonnegut and Dresden. That's a horrible story. But Slaughterhouse 5 is well worth reading.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. Is that the
Please
one
show us
with,
those pictures, he says. Man, I don't know. I'd have to get my mom to scan them in or take a picture with her phone or something. I don't think I have any hip hop pictures. Oh, Chris is saying I got an echo all of a sudden. Well, I came prepared. Here, hold on.
uh-oh.
We don't want that. I'll just plug in my pots real quick. Give me 1 second, folks. Thank you for telling me. Really appreciate that.
Oh, there's an echo. I was testing it, but it
Isn't
sounds
that
like
weird that
they're...
it waited that long to come along? I must
It
have
is
done-
pretty strange.
Maybe it's because the room changed because of the sunset. All right, test 1, 2. Go ahead and say something, Jim. Make sure I can hear you.
Well, I've heard stories about that, like if, like a little old lady that when she's climbing into the bathtub on Sunday night, she can hear a church radio show being played in the pipes in her wall.
Yeah, I've had that experience.
The conditions are just right to pick up and translate some radio sounds.
Yeah, I've absolutely had that experience.
I've had similar experiences. It's pretty creepy.
Hey, Sarath. Sarath's tuning in from Scotland. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for
Appreciate that.
popping in.
We were just moving through the rough draft of an article I wrote about the origin of a picture show. I'm realizing as I'm reading it that I probably went a little too far back as to exactly how we got all the way to picture show. This is more like the prequel to picture show so far, huh?
Yeah, I guess you're right. We didn't quite get to picture show yet.
Yeah, Sarath just reminded me of my wonderful lady. She had already had a trip booked to the UK, and she decided she was going to jump me into the fun. And despite me not having the means to join her, she brought me with her, and we actually stayed in Leith, which is just outside of Edinburgh, for like almost a month, and it was just amazing. So it makes me curious what part Sarath's in. Not that I want you to tell me, it just makes me curious because my part of it was my family history. Some of it is Scottish. I'm of the Gordon clan, so I actually did some genealogy research for our family while I was there, and it was a good time. I highly recommend Edinburgh and Leith to anybody. The food is great. It's not like England. The food in England is terrible for the most part. I mean, I'm talking about British food, of course. I mean, there's restaurants you can find that are good, but the French influence must have really gotten to the Scots because it's way better. And of course, I was drinking at the time, so I really miss the whiskey. They don't call it Scotch; they just call it whiskey. And you couldn't believe it, Jim. There was a dozen or more in every single bar, and they were all different types. It wasn't like the same dozen of whiskeys.
Wow.
Like just insanity.
Have you ever been to Shropshire? Sarath, the Mage Experiment? That's my people came over from there. Shropshire, I think. I've never been, but I guess there's a Castle Maiden.
Now, it's funny you say that. Now we're talking about castles, because this guy here with the runes, he told us what it meant one day, but I don't remember. He says, your family and mine both share the same castle in Moray, Gordon clan. Yeah, the Huntley Castle. I think. I know that Huntley Castle is the Gordon. To me, in my family's true style, all the way back to those days, like the castle got raided and ended up being ruined, so they just built like a little shack next to it and lived in that instead of fixing it. Sarah says no, but he's been around the UK a lot. Oh, he's in Aberdeen. Okay. I don't think we made it that far. Say again? Didn't hear you, Jim.
Oh, I'd love to go there.
Yeah, you should do it, man. It's worth it. I highly recommend to anyone, regardless of where you're going to travel, take advantage of the opportunity to stay someplace for an extended period of time and not bounce around. Because what we did is we really seriously thought about going to hostels or bouncing in and out of cheap hotels. And instead, my girl found a deal on this little apartment on the Airbnb, and it was the same price, almost identical to us trying to do the math on how much it was going to cost to move around. And being in one place changed it completely. Like, you don't feel like a tourist. Like, we got to know the people at the, there's a little place called the Rose Leaf. It was a great bar/restaurant. The guy met us at the door because we had to wait like 2 hours before the apartment key would be ready. And we had all of our luggage, and we just got off the train, and so we come bursting into this bar with all of our gear, and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" I was like, "We got to stay somewhere for a minute, man." And he like took all of our luggage and hauled it downstairs and like got us drinks and food, and I was like, "This guy's the bomb." Well, then we ended up like being friends with him. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he's an awesome guy.
That's great.
So yeah, I'm still yeah, Sheridan. I remember following Thomas Sheridan for a little while. Remember that guy, Jim? He did a pretty good John Dee piece.
Yeah, I think so. Thomas Sheridan.
Pretty sure he's Irish, not Scottish.
Beyond Room 313 or 337.
And yeah, he used to cover the Choronazon, that demon entity. I don't remember it. I'm just going from memory here.
Thomas Sheridan.
CHCPR1, Thomas Sheridan has a new YouTube channel called Beyond Room 313 or 337 or something. Mujahideen says, "I could use a sabbatical like that." And you've earned it, man. You do have the right to go and do something. Because I know you're working hard all the time. Mujahideen. I love that name. Like Mujahideen.
Mujahideen.
But yeah, so you want to bust off into brainstorming, or should I keep reading this story? Where are we at? We stopped at the B story. So I definitely got the job with Jim, even though we both got beat up by the same guy who was maybe a little bit paranoid about who was or wasn't flirting with his girlfriend. Because the messed up thing, Jim, was, I don't know if I ever told you that, but the whole reason I was standing there in the bar still and hadn't left was just because his girl was there, and as being an old-fashioned gentleman, as I was raised, you don't just abandon some other dude's lady when he disappears. You kind of got to keep eyes on the ball, right? Like, don't want to leave her by herself. And so I was standing with my arm so that she was blocked from, she was an attractive girl, so hella dudes were flirting with her, and everyone's getting drunk. And then he got mad at me thinking that he's looking through the window and I'm standing too close to her and making it look like my arm's around her. And it's like, no, just the opposite. Not flirting, trying to keep these slime balls off your girl, and now here I gotta get socked up for it. Thanks. Talk about hard times. So we're almost I'm gonna move on here. I'm gonna keep doing it. So the B story is pretty short. It says, so where we were, folks, is like I said, I left Idaho, came to Walla Walla, not on a whim, but at my gut intuition. Met Jim, really enjoyed his friendship. He said he was looking for work. We both got into a scuffle with the same friend, who's still a friend of ours. We're not mad at him. And Jim so kindly gave me a job despite all of the hullabaloo. And the B story, it says, now I'm excited. Despite my drunken bullshit, I still got a job. I go tell my aunt. I get a hold of my new girlfriend, and she's been letting me stay the night and borrow her bike. Now I will have the money to fix my truck. I'm awestruck at being able to help make bronze sculpture. I'm careful and attentive, and I notice that everybody's pretty laid back, and maybe we'll skip that part right there. My new girlfriend gets some great news, and she makes us some curry. It's the first time she's ever done it, and it's the first time she's cooked in a long time. It's a sign of things to come. So, fun and games. Everything's going well. The job with Jim is exciting and interesting. I'm learning how to pour hot wax into patterns of fine art. I'm learning how the art has to be fixed and corrected so the detail is perfect again. You have to actually cut it up into pieces and put it on cups. And it's an ancient process, and it's called lost wax. There's plenty of banter with the guys. Everybody is a little corrupt and strange. I'm enjoying the job and learning a lot about fine art. We take breaks and go to Jim's house after work and drink some beers. Jim realizes I'm a musician and slaps a guitar in my hand, and I show off a bit. We talk about art and we make art. Sloppy and ugly and nothing like the beautiful sculptures we're producing. Jim and I become close. He also plays the guitar and is more focused on the piano at the time. We improvise and play a few songs together. He's not quite as proficient as I am on the guitar, but it's still fun. We fantasize about having a band or a show and calling it Picture Show. I move out of my aunt's house and in with my girlfriend, and I had been staying at her apartment almost every night, and she had bought a house and invites me to move in with her, and I say yes. So here's the midpoint. Jim and I are talking about having a musical rehearsal. We start setting it up. We rearrange his messy back room so we have a spot. We start brainstorming lists of songs. We imagine drummers and other musicians or friends that we can get involved. There's a discussion of a black and white aesthetic, something vaudevillian, something that looks like old silent movies and footage from the World's Fair or a trip to the moon from that one French director. We get my friend Innate involved, and it looks like we're going to start covering songs and eventually writing originals. Okay. So it says, bad guys close in. This whole time I've been following weird shit on the internet. Internet blood sports was a strange phenomenon. People would have no-holds-barred argumentative conversation on a couple of different channels. People with a beef and drama or disagreement would call each other out and jump on the live streams and yell and insult each other and attempt to win the argument with very little moderation. YouTube at the time had a new feature called Super Chats where you could make donations and have your comments read aloud during the stream. I would tune into blood sports on Andy Worskey's channel, in between listening to occult and esoteric podcasts and strange audiobooks and classics and other educational material. I saw Worskey live and the blood sports phenomena as an excuse to take a break from deeper, more philosophical and meaningful topics. It was fun and kind of stupid. I keep seeing requests in the chat on Worskey's show for a flat earth debate. I'm a flat earther. It's a long story, but I actually realized the earth was flat almost 10 years ago, and then I forgot. When I remembered, I started studying again like crazy, and it jumped me back into the whole conspiracy study mode. I have a habit of falling back to sleep and getting away from the mysteries and secrets of the world. At the time, Andy Worskey was partnered up with a French neurobiologist from Quebec named Jean-Francois Garapy. They were having pretty huge success, and they were giving a platform to white nationalists and other similar thinkers of all races to come on the stream, debate the merits of their point, and generally insult and ridicule each other. I got the idea to send in a super chat. I saw the typical white versus black narrative as being completely lacking in nuance. I sent in a super chat asking if they'd ever heard of the Catholic apologist E. Michael Jones, and I offered to debate Jean-Francois about the flat earth as a potential way to satisfy their audience and get my views and my image pushed out there to a bigger audience. To my horror and surprise, Jean-Francois said yes. He had not heard of E. Michael Jones, but he did end up interviewing him a year later. Did you know that, Jim?
What?
JF eventually did get E. Michael Jones on his show.
Yeah, I think I heard that. Was it on Worskey Live or was it on JF's?
No, it was just on JF's channel, yeah. I don't really follow JF, and Worskey's just kind of like tanked himself. I hope he's all right. Silly bastard that he is.
Yeah, I saw that he got hacked or something.
Yeah, well, that's what he says. I'm curious if he really got hacked or if he's just...
He went off the deep end or something?
Creating drama to keep his view counts up. You know, that's the one thing me and you need to make an agreement right now, that if we ever get to the point where we feel like this whole thing falls apart, instead of, if it truly falls apart, like it's not working for us, you know, I know we've hit a bump in the road here, but I'd say this is definitely still working to whatever degree, you know. But if it's like we feel desperate, we need to just be smart and just be like, all right, I guess that's over, and not be like, well, maybe we should light the basement on fire or whatever.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Because you see it a lot with these guys. A lot of these channels that used to be really huge, and then they go out of their way to like do anything to try and rebuild an audience or get views and lose their dignity and like.
They spiral.
Yeah. So you and I can't do that. We either gotta keep what we have right now or call it good. So.
I'm not gonna sit down and eat a whole jar of mayonnaise.
The mayo, that was terrible. But so it says here, I was terrified. My plan had worked, and it gave me the chills. I started corresponding with JF, and he was nervous that I was just a troll. I reassured him that I was not, and he accepted when I recommended April 1st as our date for a Flat Earth debate. I told him people would think it's a joke, and then when they tune in, they'd find out that we were serious. JF and Andy Worski were having a rough time of it, so some lightheartedness and levity would definitely benefit their show and their audience. So, all is lost, it says. Despite weeks of preparation and rigorous planning, I do poorly in the debate. JF is a doctorate biologist with a high IQ and has a deep love of sophistry and debating. He kind of pins me down on the subject of gravity and makes me look like a dumbass. Before that, I was studying, and I decided I was just going to be calm and relaxed and not make this a super argumentative blood sports type event. I figured if I can make a good showing, even if it looks like I lose, I can ask them if I could play a song at the end, and we can all move on as something like friends. Andy and JF ended up teaming up on me because my flat earth views are different than the normal ones that you might find out there on YouTube. Everybody's confused and full of ridicule. People think I'm a fucking idiot, and I don't care. It's all good. And as we draw towards the end, I ask them if they want to hear a song I wrote about the flat earth. They say yes, and I run upstairs and grab the guitar. Everybody claps their hands and bobs along, and JF even plays his pizza pan prop like a tambourine. Remember that? Remember that?
Yeah, that was funny.
And this is all still up on Worski's channel. That's my first introduction into the bigger, trying to get us out there, get a name for ourselves. And
yeah, you jumped in and pretty deep.
Yeah, there's 4,000 people. Yeah. 4,000 people live, that's a lot, And Jim, you really helped because you were the one that was willing to have it at your house, so that I appreciate that. So.
Well, yeah, it looked like fun. I was watching it with a 8-second delay, so.
Oh, that's right.
Kept wanting to jump in, but.
So
I was like, oh man, we gotta do something. Like fun.
So you were already thinking about Picture Show before the debate was over, huh?
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, oh, we gotta do this. This is awesome.
I was just thinking, I am a dumbass. That's what I was thinking. So all that work, and I can't even explain why I think the Earth is flat to 4,000 people on a live stream. Oh well. Reality sets in. I might have ruined my reputation by affiliating myself with white nationalists, even if it was to debate the shape of the earth. My friends and contacts in real life have always just barely tolerated my conspiratorial bullshit, and now I've tarnished my reputation by affiliating with taboo people, and I've not even done a good job of convincing everyone the earth is flat. Have I ruined my life? Should I delete my Facebook? I'm being accused of everything from being a white supremacist to being an idiot to actually being Jew-defending CIA agent. I'm full of doubt and regret about this entire venture. Maybe I am a fucking idiot. At least my girlfriend still loves me, and Jim's still my friend. I'm still super impressed that I got to play my song for so many people. It was definitely the largest audience I've ever been in front of. Everybody seems to love the song, and I'm getting a lot of feedback. They say things like, well, that guy's kind of dumb, but he sure writes a catchy tune. I hear from a few friends and they're laughing at me, but they're happy and impressed, and they're congratulating me on doing such a good job at being personable and making a good showing. Because like I was really surprised. I figured I would get attacked, you know. Like after the debate, I figured I would get attacked, like trolled or maybe even doxxed. And everyone was kind. Very few people said anything rude. And people literally said stuff like, well, that guy is a dumbass because he thinks the Earth's flat, but I like him. He seems like a nice guy or whatever. So, you know, it was encouraging, you know. As the next
Yeah, you
week...
killed it with your song.
Yeah, the song, that was really the secret plan the whole time. If I could get that song on the air, I felt like I won. You know, I still should record that song and put it on iTunes and shit. I really should.
Yeah, it's a lot better than the other flat Earth songs I've heard out there.
Yeah, you know me. I think that they had that other guy write flat Earth songs just because mine was good, but that's kind of, I guess that's a little egomaniacal, huh? A little conceited. So
That could be.
as the next, oh, go ahead.
Conspiracy everywhere out there.
I didn't hear you.
Conspiracy everywhere out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone else programmed me to say that, and I didn't even know it. No, just kidding. As the next week is approaching, Jim and I are talking about how much fun it was and what a huge energetic feeling it was to prepare and go live with such a huge audience. We decided we want more. I say we could go live every week and just call it Picture Show. Jim comes up with the idea to call it Rx Only Picture Show. The band me and my friend Nathan used to have back in the 2000s was called Rx Only, the Panacea. And because Jim had heard all about it from me and Nate, he came up with the great idea to add the RX to our picture show concept. We were moving away from being just a musical act, and our eventual focus would be interviews and especially variety. So here's the finale. We decide that Wednesday is the day. I get in touch with my brother Adam Lohr and ask him if he's interested to be our first guest. He agrees. We decide that we better just set up fast and pull the trigger and go live, because if we spend too much time thinking and prepping, we probably won't get shit done. The basement is still set up from the flat earth debate, so I grab my telephone and go live in my car on YouTube, letting everyone know that we're going to be doing a live stream each week. We're going to interview Adam Lohr, and it's going to be called Rx Only Picture Show. We've got the live stream bug, and little did we know that it would grow larger than our wildest dreams. Hey, that's the rough draft of the thing. Oh, I didn't have it on the screen. Oh well, that's all right. We're still up here. So hold on just a second, you guys.
Yeah, we used to take lunch breaks at work, and me and SB would go to the bar and have lunch and have a couple of beers, and we'd be talking about conspiracies and all kinds of crazy stuff, and the bartenders could hardly get any work done because they were always eavesdropping so much. We're kind of thinking, you know, this might be a good thing to talk about, this kind of stuff. I think people would be interested. People always would eavesdrop.
Oh yeah, but bartenders. We had the bartenders' necks on a swivel.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't know what to think. So I was trying to look at the chat here. So yeah, I've got that all marked up. I don't know, I guess I could just publish it on my old blog. I was thinking about putting up a page, like a regular sonio.net. I've got that. You know, Sonio's my handle forever on the internet. Because
Right back.
All right. I'm just reading the chat here, folks. If you got any specific questions or ideas, chime in, let us know. Kind of a loose show because I just felt like we had to do something. We had to get back on here and do something and not just let this thing die, because I got so much feedback from everybody in the private messages and in public messages and comments on the YouTube streaming in. Some people asking about Tracy, but a lot of people just saying, hey, just keep doing it. And I want you to know that's all really greatly appreciated. You know, we've had some hard times and some weird stuff, and it's really stressed us. It's been personally very stressful for Jem and I both. I mean, I'm not afraid to speak for him a little bit. We've had some pretty hard times, and we're trying to keep this thing rolling. I love the idea of still eventually getting some guests. Maybe get somebody like Saroth in here. Once we get a little bit up and running better, maybe we could still get Christopher Knowles to come talk about secret history of rock and roll and mermaids and stuff. And so we can still do every week. I'm just glancing at the chat here. Oh, yeah, we were talking about Thomas Sheridan. Saw a vid where Thomas Sheridan was describing invoking Lucifer, but I wasn't convinced. That doesn't sound like a very good idea. Sorcery, the Invocation of Strangeness. That must be a Thomas Sheridan book, huh? I like Thomas Sheridan. He's an artist who does some pretty neat sculptures, and he gets a little cocky sometimes, but that's okay. I'm just reading. $500 for the first guy that gets a true interview with Flamenco. That's not a bad idea. So TJ Lynch on communitarianism. Check out the Discernment channel. Videos on the aftermath of the Paradise Fire in California and what nightmares the survivors are going through. Okay, thanks for that. Check out Nikki Rapana on communitarianism in general. But if you go find her on Facebook, I don't know if they're doing any live streaming or anything, but they're getting ready to put on the 3rd or 4th annual Alaska Hemp Fest. And they've had a hell of a time trying to keep that thing rolling. They've had all kinds of gang stalking and harassment and people aligning against them because they're not in anybody's pocket. They're truly independent, amazing women, Nikki Rapana and her daughter Nordica. They live up in interior Alaska. They've been making homemade yurts for decades. They did the most preeminent research, in my opinion, in the world about the political state of the world, and it's called communitarianism. So yeah, thanks TJ Lynch for pointing that out. I'll check out the Discernment channel for sure. And still reading along here. E. Michael Jones has the best video on Buddha Geek. Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me. He just lives right up the street from him, so. And yeah, I'll have to remember to do that too. Buja pulled one back. Oh, here we are. The 9 Mystery. I'm not nearly as good at reading the chat as Jem is.
Where are you at in the chat?
Well, yeah, I was trying to read farther up, but it jumped. It jumped on me, so.
Oh, yeah, sometimes it jumps.
I see. I always call this guy Chopper in my head. CHCPR. To me, it's Chopper 1. It says JF has some weird aspects. His choice in women, especially. Yeah, if you ever followed JFG, boy, oh boy, JF, for having such a high IQ and a doctorate, to like intentionally go seek out autistic girls and try and get them out of the custody of their parents and have children with them. That is, to say it's strange is pretty kind, in my opinion, Chopper. He likes it mentally challenged, yeah. He's got what we call a potato preference.
Potato.
That's not
I love
very nice.
potatoes. I love French fried. Baked potatoes are really good too.
Oh, now we got a minor flat Earth debate going, and so I'll go. You know what? Do we even have a flat Earth channel in our Discord or not? I wrote a decent little Twitter thread and a short piece of writing. Because see, the thing is about flat Earth is that I found this square flat Earth theory that I think is more correct than anything else you'll find. And I think most of the flat Earth stuff you find on the internet is all controlled opposition, even though the Earth is actually flat. They've brought it out intentionally as like part of the magical unfolding of the world. The communitarianism thing is all about polarizing and dividing everyone into groups. And we're seeing it now more than we've ever seen it in my life. Like they've got us polarized to the maximum on everything. Like I can't think of a category that's not polarized. You know, it used to not be so bad. It's like it used to be just be like race, religion, politics, and abortion. Those are like the main categories that people, and maybe the environment to some degree. But now it's the shape of the earth, trans stuff, and all. It was just like it's crazy, you know. Even though I studied it all those years ago with Nikki Rapana and the book that she wrote and her daughter, I never imagined that they would bring out this this level of pushing everybody into groups. And I think it's because they want us to all feel desperate and scared, and to be focused on small negative details on everything. And eventually they'll start to make things really bad. They'll bring out wars, and they'll make governments collapse, and then they'll bring out their antichrist or world leader type figure, and it'll be easier for everyone to say, oh good, finally somebody's going to do something good because everything's been bad for so long. You know, that's the end game of the plan, and I think we're definitely seeing it playing out. So still reading here. Are you replying to some comments here?
Yeah, I was just Harrison and Krista were talking about doing a book club.
Yeah, I like the idea of a book club.
I do too.
And that was the other part in the title there. Like, we made it through the rough draft of the Origin of Picture Show. Please let us know what you think in the Discord. You know, if you got some pointers or there's details that you missed that you want. After I edit this thing up, I'll post it up somewhere so people can see it and read it if they want to. But just brainstorming the future, like let's manifest some ideas here of what the future of Rx Only Picture Show looks like. I mean, obviously we'd like to get some guests. That was cool. First feedback on the show. Intentional feedback. We'll say there's something we could do in the future. Experiment with feedback.
Also, call-ins. Call-ins were suggested.
Yeah, we could get some call-ins. I like the idea of having both Harrison and Alex Rivera as regular or semi-regular guests if they're interested, because they're very, very knowledgeable in the occult and esoteric stuff. You know, I'm pretty well read, but I wouldn't say I'm on the level of Alex Rivera or even Harrison. You know, these guys are. I cover too many subjects, so I'm not very good in any one subject. That's the way I see myself, anyway. You know.
I'd like to have topic call-ins also. You know, like, I don't know. I used to like to watch Coast to Coast or listen to Coast to Coast, and he'd be like, "All right, everybody who's got a crazy ghost story, call in."
Yeah, I like that idea.
You know, some sort of a specific topic.
Everybody who's got a story of falling down with a beer in their hand by the river, call in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we could burn a lot of. I mean, everybody gets to contribute, so it's pretty sweet.
Man, I know that sounds sarcastic, but I really think that would be a great call-in show, right? Because almost everybody's falling down by the river with a beer in their hand. I saw a totally drunk guy do it one time and fall at night into the river all the way and kept his beer above water. And then he came up and he's like, yeah, because he didn't spill his beer. You know, he was all the way submerged. His head was underwater, but that Coors Light was still sticking out. And he was so proud of himself. It's like he won the Winston Cup or something.
It is definitely impressive.
I'm dating myself now. Winston Cup. Some of these people don't even know what that means.
What's up, okay?
So, Jim, how do you feel about... Oh, I guess you can't do that right now. You got a cat.
I got a cat here.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe you want to read a joke or two.
I might be able to do that.
Otherwise, I gotta grab this Mountain Dew bottle right here. Hold on.
I knew somebody who had surgery, minor surgery recently, and they were telling me that the anesthesiologist came in and said, There's two things we can do to knock you out. Option A is we can drug you. And option B is this. And he reached behind his back and he had a oar behind his back. He holds that up. We can whack you with it.
Wait, you had an oar like for boating?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was an ether oar situation.
All right, I got to go to the bathroom. See if you can give him one more. I'll
All right,
as fast as
yeah.
I can.
I'll have to. Speaking of nautical jokes. Whoa, my alarm's going off here. What do you call waiting 5 hours to catch a fish? Quick. Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish and he will sit in a boat and drink beer all day. Here's another one. All sailors and fishermen are liars, except you and me. And I'm not so sure about you. So how much does it cost for a pirate to pierce his ears? It costs a buccaneer. You know, one buccaneer. I finally snapped, the man said. Last night, while I was going over the bills, I discovered how much money my wife squanders, and I hit the roof. What did you do? Asked his friend. I stormed into the bedroom and gave her a lecture on economy and thrift. Did it help? I'll say. Tomorrow we're selling my boat and sailing equipment.
I didn't catch it.
How many boaters does it take to change a light bulb? None, because the right size bulb isn't on board. The local marine supply store doesn't carry that brand, and the mail order house has them on back order.
Your friend misses you.
Oh, there he is. What's the difference between a lawyer and a dock line?
What's that?
One should be wiped at both ends. The other keeps your boat tied to the dock. Oh, one should be whipped at both ends.
Whipped. Maybe put some thoughts in my head about a lawyer though. Like wiped at both ends. Like wipe his mouth then. Never mind. Get back over there. There you go. So this is an old, long-standing tradition, folks, just so you know, is that I finally get to bladder capacity after drinking so many beverages. And I wait too long, and then I say, oh crap, I gotta go. And I run off camera and abandon Jim in front of the camera all by himself. And usually Jim's solution is to look up jokes in the Google browser and read them out loud. So.
Why is sailing like sex? When it's good, it's really, really good. And when it's bad, it's still pretty good.
Oh, and I'm getting private messages here. What's this?
How do you make a yacht look younger? Boat talks.
Boat talks? Hey, what was that one again?
How do you make a yacht look younger?
Boat talks?
Boat talks. These are terrible jokes.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe TJ Lynch is trying to get us to get Bob Dobbs on the show. I found that guy recently when I was searching for Fulcanelli. He's got some pretty interesting information about Fulcanelli. If you guys don't know, Bob Neverett is kind of a controversy with the Church of the Subgenius and the Book of the Subgenius because he claims that the guys that actually started the thing wrote it based on his real life, and he claims to be a bloodline descendant of, like, I think he claims to be one of the Illuminati bloodlines or like the Merovingian bloodline or something like that. And he claims that the guys that started the Book of the Subgenius met him in a bar and were talking to him, and so they decided to write the whole book about to base the character of Bob Dobbs on him. But if you ask those guys, what they say is that guy's full of shit and he's an idiot and he's obsessed with Marshall McLuhan, and he just glommed onto our subgenius idea and started calling himself Bob Dobbs and referring to himself as Bob and to his wife like she's Connie. So there's like a falling out and a disagreement. I think there was even a lawsuit and all this kind of stuff. But I found Bob Neverett is his name pretty fascinating because what he did is he got some old guy who's channeling an entity called Ion, like ION. And they sit there and have conversations that are just completely far out. If you Google Bob Dobbs and Ion and find the audio or find some podcast audio, it's really surreal and far out. So I find it pretty fascinating, even if Philo Drummond and Ivan Stang, those are the guys that started the Church of the Subgenius. Even if they hate this guy's guts, I still find him fascinating. And he probably would come on here and do a talk with us. So that's an interesting idea. We could actually get Bob Dobbs on the show, Jim. What do you think of that?
That would be awesome.
We could tell him that we want the premise to be that we're going to go with the idea that the guys that actually started the church are dishonest hucksters, and that it's not right that they don't give full credit where credit's due to Bob Dobbs for the role that he's played in bringing Slack and Ion to the world. You know, that we'll just go with that premise overall.
Give me food, give me Slack, or kill me.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's one of them. My favorite is act like a dumb shit and they'll treat you as an equal. That's my personal favorite. I mean, if you can't whoop it, go down is pretty good. Don't get me wrong. I actually started writing a science fiction book just out of high school called "If You Can't Whoop It, Go Down."
That's hilarious.
Oh, by the way, if you have a very specific question or something you really want noticed, all caps always helps. Because I'm still kind of glancing at the chat here.
Yeah, I kind of got behind when I was...
Beer by the river sounds like smiley face bait.
I'd like to do a UFO show, you guys.
Yeah, we kind of need to do that. Oh, yeah, Snake Jones, it looked like, yeah, he sent me a picture, but I don't know if I could get it up on the screen very easily here.
I've had some interesting UFO experiences. One in particular was up very close, and it messed me up for a long time.
The screen's all messed up here, man.
I'll tell it soon. I want to do a show about it, but definitely sent me on a journey of discovery and confusion. I've also seen some stuff that were, I think, like robotic drones, like U.S. government drones. After I saw the UFO, I was always looking up in the sky, and I was in my friend's house in Bend, Oregon, and I was just like watching the sky back when I used to smoke cigarettes, so I'd be out quite a bit. And I saw this, it's a boomerang shaped craft. It was black and it had red lights on the bottom, and it's just kind of sailing. And I was like, look, and I pointed up to it, and as soon as I pointed at it, it went all like shimmery, like the Predator, you know, when he goes invisible, like it was all shimmery all of a sudden, and then it did this like maneuver where it turned all the way vertical, and then it it changed directions and went almost like a zig. It went zigzag and like almost went backwards. It did like a 300-degree turn in a second. And I think that, I don't know. I don't know if a person could do that kind of move. And it was really odd that it happened right when I pointed up at it.
Yeah, you've got more than one UFO experience that you've described to me, right?
Yeah, I've had a few.
And
I used to really think that there were aliens coming to visit, and I don't know, the more I look into it, the more I think that it's something else, you know. They're well, it depends on what you see, but I think that some UFOs are actually spirit entities or demons, or, you know, something that we don't understand, something that's alive in its own way, you know. But we'll have to get into that later.
yeah, well, that's kind of the teaser there of what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think there's stuff that we have, you know, just technologies that our government has that, or maybe an offshoot civilization has, that are pretty high tech. But also there's some things that are just, you know, maybe some sort of a body, you know, for some entity to be in our realm, or, you know, it even could be like something that if we saw its true shape, we wouldn't be able to see it because our brains wouldn't understand it. So we see something that we don't get, and our brain makes it into something that makes sense to us.
Right.
Like
Screen, they call screen memory or whatever, right?
yeah, well, like, remember that movie? Like, I think it was like What the Bleep Do We Know? And they were saying that that the Native Americans had never seen a ship, you know. So when they went out to the beach and there was a ship coming to land with you know, the Columbus on it or something, they looked at it and they couldn't see it. They thought that it was a log, or they thought it was, but they just couldn't see it at all because they had never seen that, and so it didn't fit into any category that their brain could translate and see, actually.
Right.
So I don't know. Interesting topics for sure. I'd love to hear you guys' UFO experiences.
Well, that'd be a good call-in show too. Like we could do, we could make an outline of everything that you have in reference to your own personal experience, and then have a specific set of call-in parameters. You know, not like just anything, but like could still be kind of loose, but you know, like have it focused on whatever's relevant to whatever you think is your best or most important experience. We could have the questions that we feel be in that realm, you know.
Yeah, the thing that I saw, I was looking, I just poured through all kinds of UFO stuff, just looking for anybody that saw the same thing that I saw. And I found a few examples of it, but no answers, you know. In the UFO community, there's really no answers. It's just, I think it's a dead end. I think that they know, I think they know what they're dealing with, at least the government does, if, you know, and they're not telling us because it blows paradigms.
Well, it's starting to come out now that they're starting to bring it out. Like it's whatever, you know, they call it Operation Blue Beam or whatever, but like Tom DeLonge from Blink-182 is coming out and he's starting to talk about stuff, and I've seen a bunch of controversy with whatever the blue chicken alien is. I never really followed this stuff. You know, I was never a UFO buff. I've never really had an experience. I saw
that's all new agey UFO stuff, you know. Our space brothers are here to save us.
Right. Yeah, and they're starting to bring it out strongly just in the last few weeks. Have you seen it? Like less than a month. There's
Gaia
a bunch
TV.
more press. Yeah. And what else? I know that Podesta, not Tony, but John Podesta is like, the people have the right to know. And there's some of those emails that are in there in his emails that got published that say stuff like, talking about, well, we have this extraterrestrial that we're in touch with and they're friendly and they're going to bring us technology, 0-point energy, but they say they don't want any more wars and all this,
Yep. Is it the whole what is that movie? The I forget. Klaatu Varata Niktu. Bill, I think.
Oh, that rings a bell. What is that?
It's what the alien says.
Yeah, I know. I just
Klaatu Varata Niktu. And it's also on Army of Darkness, the Evil Dead 3 movie, or sequel to Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Oh, so there's aliens in the third one?
No, there's no aliens. It's just it's a magic word or something. I forget. But Boomstick, the hero, says it. Gosh, it's been a while.
Yeah, I was just glancing back over here in the chat. So, I got sent a few pictures on private messages, and I thought maybe they were about aliens, but they weren't. So I just went away from it. But it was a huge smiley face billboard. I had it almost so I could put it up, but I messed it up. So I'll drop that in the Discord too, if the guy who sent them to me doesn't do it himself. But yeah, like a huge St. Louis, I think, billboard with a huge smiley face on it. So, that's another idea I had is we could definitely, I want to start the process of getting return guests.
To Serve Man, is that what it means? Or is that the movie? To Serve Man. Oh, The Day the Earth Stood Still, yeah. Sorry there, I didn't mean to.
No, that's okay. To Serve Man, I thought that, was that a movie? I thought it was an episode of Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone, yeah. And this guy's.
Because I know James True would be willing to come back. I'd love to I love the idea of cycling back through, just about any and every guest that we've had in the past, I'd be willing to talk to at least one more time. I feel bad because in the middle of all the weird crap going on, I know I saw that Claire sent me a message just asking me how I'm doing, and I never did answer her, and I'm going to have to go find that on Twitter or wherever it was, because I really liked Claire. Claire was a little eccentric, but I really liked her, and I felt bad that we didn't get a better shot for her camera. We don't have the best production values here at Picture Show, so, but her information about Paul was pretty amazing. You remember Claire, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Very, very interesting. I think if we got to a second episode, we could actually get into some of the meat of her story a little bit more instead of just the preliminary explaining that went on for the first part of our show. I'd be pretty interested in hearing a little bit more, like the 200 level class instead of the 101.
Yeah, I know. We really tried to encourage her that our audience was sophisticated enough that they wouldn't need to take the 101. But I think sometimes being on a live feed, it catches people more off guard than they're expecting because they're used to doing interviews, and being live is a kind of a different vibe. And so I think I've seen it with more than one guest, not just on our show, but more than one guest in general. That it just seems like there's a little bit of tension and nervousness, and usually it settles out after a little while. And I felt like the combination of Claire feeling like she didn't have enough time in the past, plus that nervousness, kind of it made her want to make sure she covered what she was familiar with first. But You know, if you follow the Paul is Dead Beatles stuff and you haven't watched that episode, it's worth it to roll through there with Claire past the preliminary stuff, because she starts making some crazy popping off connections. I don't remember if it was to the Frank Sinatra stuff? I think that's what it was. Like somehow she tied Paul is Dead back to Frank Sinatra, and so that would tie into the whole Minnie's Moose thing and everything. I'm pretty sure that was it. I haven't gone back to watch it. Come on, little pug. Up. 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 Good boy. Did everybody get to see the dog? He's a cutie.
Pugtastic. Pugnacious.
He's a madman. This guy, he's been playing soccer. He found a soccer ball in the backyard. Come on. And it's just flat enough that he can bite it. And I swear he's like a reincarnation of a human being or something, because he acts like he plays soccer with it. He doesn't play with it like a dog. He like beats it around like it came down off of a higher spot to him, and he framed himself up underneath it, and he went boom with his head and hit it with his head. This is crazy. Oh, all right, come on. There you go. If I lock him out so he leaves me alone, he scratches on the door. If I let him in, he gets bored and he wants out.
Yeah, cats and dogs.
Come
I
on.
love that little move.
Lay down. Come. Lay down. Lay down. I don't have nothing for you. So where are we at here? We're still just brainstorming, huh? So what do you do? Should we brainstorm next week? What should we do next week? I know we still want to eventually get Adam Lohr back if he's willing.
I think we should do some call-ins if we
You
can.
want to just do call-ins next week?
I would love to do that. Maybe have people tell us maybe some stories of how they got into this creepy part of the internet. You know, the world where, you know, what gets you thinking about conspiracies? How'd you end up here?
Yeah, that's not a bad question. What's the conspiracy that got you into the game? Because for me, I would say it probably goes back to the Freemasonic symbols on the dollar bill. There was a book called Pawns in the Game by William Guy Carr, who's a Canadian naval intelligence officer and a Catholic, and he had all this information. It's a good book. It's worth reading. But yeah, that, like I said in the article I was reading out of, I have a habit of like getting way deep into this stuff and then like kind of just going about my day and forgetting about it, and then like it's a few years later and I've forgotten all about it, and then something happens and I'm like, what? And so I start thinking about it again, and I'm trying this time to not fall back asleep, because that happened with that book, and then I forgot all about it. And then my buddy Johnny saw Dylan Avery on Dylan Avery from the 9/11 Loose Change movie. He saw him on they actually had him on Amy Goodman's show. What's it called? You remember that lady, Amy Goodman? She's kind of a leftist gatekeeper, political talking head. I just can't think of the show, but it's a pretty popular like politics and world news show back in the day on the lesser known cable channels. And they interviewed Dylan Avery one time on that show, and he was talking about 9/11. And so my friend told me about it, and I'm like, nah, what are you talking about? Because I totally fell for 9/11. I didn't think it was anything suspicious. You know, I was all mad at the Arabs like everybody else, and we better go to war. We can't believe this happened. You know, it totally worked. The spell totally worked on me. And I started researching, and I found Alex Jones, and then I found, you know, everybody else down the line, and got stuck studying political Zionism and all that stuff, and reading lots of books and listening to thousands of hours of podcasts and stuff following the 9/11 story, mostly with Christopher Bolin, whose writing, in my opinion, is still some of the very best writing out there on solving 9/11. He was the first one I saw bring out the information about the 5 Israelis dressed up as Arabs and dancing with cigarette lighters, and they got arrested with a van that tested positive for gunpowder residue, and they held them for like 3 or 4 weeks in the United States, kind of on the down low, and then they quietly sent him back home without no trouble, no problems. And so that really fired me up to find out more. That's a weird noise.
Yeah. Somehow I got this alarm keeps
No.
going off.
I'm gonna let this little guy out. Come on. Oh, I forgot these are real pots. I got a long cord. Good boy.
So, I got a question for you, SB.
Yeah, go ahead.
How can you tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
I don't know. How's that?
Well, you have to wait until you're leaving, and then if he says, see you later, or after a while, that's how you know.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I've never talked to one. I've seen him at the zoo.
Well, yeah, they don't have a lot to say, but
So if you want to mess with people, say, see you later, crocodile, and after a while, alligator. It's hard, too. That's really hard. It's really hard to say that. It's not easy. It's hard. Try
it's
it.
like patting your tummy and patting your head.
I've always been able to walk and chew gum at the same time. I ask people if they can do this. And they say, yeah. Yeah, they're good. Get this hand going this way, and this one going that way, and then do them at the same time. And then reverse directions.
While standing on one foot and reciting the alphabet backwards.
Yeah.
Then you get out of jail for free.
I see Jacob Bacchus just joined us. What's up, Jake? It's hard to read the chat and stay focused, ain't it? I guess we could try and jump something up on the screen, or we could just kill it early. We usually roll another 30 minutes, but I'm feeling like we gotta... This is just like breaking the cherry of getting back into doing something when with such a big hole in our boat. We've tried to plug the hole in our boat of losing our friend and partner. And, of course, we wish her well, regardless of what's happening. Hope and pray for the very best for her. And
Amen.
just trying to keep it rolling because we got something good here. We still got 30 people sitting here. Let's see. I know last time we talked, I started to bring up the Lucius Trust and the Delphi method and what else is that's the consensus. I was talking about a consensus. Remember that?
When was that?
It's 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's the non-picture show episode. Just us trying to jump on there and update everybody. You were in the truck in the rain or whatever.
Yeah, shit show.
Well, I mean that's just real life. We can't do anything but be honest. It sucked. We didn't know what the hell's going on. I was ready to get off the internet for 3 months and just go stand out in the yard. That was my plan. Just go lay in the grass.
Yeah, that's when all else fails, lay in the grass. Yeah, you guys see the news about Alex Jones kitty porn?
Yeah, I saw that. That's a good question.
Further discrediting of the conspiracy community.
Oh yeah, and to me that seems
It is.
that seems like it could be planned, or maybe it's not planned, and it's just because what it seemed like to me from what I read, and I didn't go doing a bunch of searching about it. I just saw that people had been sending pornography to Alex Jones in email. Not that he was sending it or that he had it even, but that they had sent it to him. Just like if I send you, friends will do this to each other, not with child pornography, but with horrible gay pornography or other offensive things, like ha ha, right? Oh yeah, Jim's on vacation. I'm going to email him a bunch of, midget porn or something. Ha ha ha,
Well, I hope not.
No, I don't do that thing, but you know what I mean. Men especially, do this kind of thing to each other, and obviously, lots of people are trying to troll and attack Alex Jones. And I'm not saying that they're even wrong for doing it. I think Alex Jones is he's a He's a weirdo. I got over him way back in the day. Like during the 9/11 stuff, I realized right away, like this guy isn't even telling the whole truth, you know. And that was like, what, 2004, 2003 or something. But he was in some lawsuit or whatever, and they had discovery requests from attorneys, and so whoever Alex Jones's people were just trying to fulfill that discovery request. And so they just forward on everything that looks like the other lawyers need it, and supposedly that's how it got sent to someone else from Alex Jones' computer. Now, like I said, I haven't looked into it because to me that's just a stupid distraction, but it's still pertinent because we're seeing a never-ending funneling of everyone's getting banned, getting demonetized, getting attacked, getting shilled on, and getting deplatformed, getting censored now. And now it's looking like the censorship is just going to ramp up so that we lose all of our freedom on the internet first, and then they're going to come for the actual freedom that you have and come tell you, you can't stand downtown on your soapbox anymore and be talking about taxes or guns or abortion or religion or else, or the Gestapo is going to come for you,
Yeah, I think I think it feels like a setup. Like, if first of all somebody has to have children porn in order to send it, so if you think about it, I don't know, it would put somebody out there, and the risk of getting caught if they're emailing pornography that's explicit like that. So I don't think that somebody that was actually using that would want to email it. I think it was somebody that was just trying to set up Alex Jones.
Yeah, they're trying to contaminate him, and that's a common strategy. If you look on the Chan boards, that's what happens. That they find some way to inject nefarious information onto your machine, and then they send the FBI to your house, and you go to prison, or whatever.
Yeah.
So here I'm reading in the chat. How far back do we go here? So Snake Jones says there's no conspiracy. Latest SGT report interview, a must listen. I'm not sure what SGT report even is. Lawyers supposedly forwarded emails that were never opened to imaginary Sandy Hook victims, but it associates the subject with the truth community. Yeah, Matt Z said that. Terrence Hypno Nipple, some lady tried to extort a basketball star in my city with some fake CP scam. Now that's interesting. On a more anecdotal note, like the lady who gets caught putting a mouse in a bottle of beer and trying to say it came that way from the factory, right?
Yeah.
Trying to extort a basketball player. Right, and Jacob has a good point that as long as they weren't opened, then that's pretty, it's a pretty good position for old Bill Hicks, a.k.a. Alex Jones, to defend himself.
Yeah.
And yeah, my favorite piece of evidence for Alex Jones as Bill Hicks is definitely the Polarization Nation media information called Shill Bill. Now, I thought Shill Bill was excellent, and I don't know if it's still up here or not, but I remember watching that at your old house.
Oh yeah, that is good.
Make you think. The teeth, man, the teeth will really make you think.
Yeah, it's pretty funny now. Even in one of the latest Polarization Nation videos from Jason James Bickford, he says that he's actually Q.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. You got Quinn Michaels, DeFango, and at least 6 other people all claiming they're Q, and then somebody I really like and kind of respect, Polarization Nation, comes out and he says he's Q too, and that's messed up.
He was also saying that he got hacked and that somebody gave him a picture of himself in his own house when he thought he was alone.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that sounds familiar, huh?
That people close to him have died, and that he thought an AI hacked his system. That he was getting off of, he's leaving, he's going to retire. I mean, that's pretty scary.
Well, I used to support him on Patreon, and he said that he thought they were all that it was something to do with Russia.
I don't know if he said that for
Yeah,
sure.
he said that he thought Patreon was Russian gangsters or Russian spies, and that's why he was getting off of it.
Well, maybe.
Because, well, I know for sure because it came to the Patreon side. Because he's like, stop sending me money on Patreon. If you want to send it to me, PayPal it to me. And he's like, he's claiming that his that they're going to shut down the internet completely. Like his group of people.
Uh,
Oh, here looks like Snake is trying to send me something here. Let's see what he's got. Go ahead and take it from there for a second, Jim, because it looks like I might have something worth sharing with the audience here.
oh yeah.
Just give me a second.
Yeah. Have you seen that the Alex Jones video where he's getting harassed at the fried chicken restaurant? It's pretty funny. We could check that out if you'd like.
Let me see what this is before we play it here.
Commentate.
All right. So, let me rearrange the video over here a little bit. And
Supposedly there was another Alex Jones. He did look kind of different, and he was like a young, enthusiastic reporter.
yeah, he looked quite a bit different when he was younger. I was trying to see what I was trying to read what Snake's sending us here.
Pie-faced, moon-faced guy, not pie-faced.
So,
Bill Hicks had cancer and took those steroids, and it made his face all round. You know, the Jerry's kids sort of, you know, Jerry, what's his name? Jerry
Jerry Lewis?
Jerry Lewis, yeah. Jerry Lewis took steroids and it made his face totally round out. That's what happened to Bill Hicks when he was taking steroids, and Alex Jones definitely has that.
So I've got this video queued up here. I could do. Oh, let me adjust the shot a little bit better than that. Oops. Come on, man. Hold on. Let me.
So who's the Gematria guy that said Jason James Bickford hacked him? Krista?
Oh, Zachary Hubbard. I looked into that all back when I was really obsessed with Jason James Bickford. Zachary Hubbard is a Zionist shill, in my opinion. Like, I looked into it back in the day. Like, Zach Hubbard is a fraud.
Was he the guy they made that movie Pi about?
No, that was before the movie Pi. Zach Hubbard is just an internet personality, but he publishes, just the fact that he publishes so many videos, to me, is proof alone. We know how much work it is just to do this crappy show, and I'm not putting us down. To get the production values up, we'd need about, what, 20 grand and about 30 hours a week between the two of us, right? To really make it look snappy.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy is just publishing and publishing and publishing, and it's all edited.
And he thinks, or Bickford said that he thought this guy was wearing masks.
Yeah, exactly. He says he thinks he's someone else and everything. And I mean, obviously everyone could do their own searching out on these topics. But yeah, I definitely think that Zach Hubbard is not the real deal. I'm not saying that I even think Jason James Bickford is definitely 100% the real deal. But what I do think is that he's not faking pulling his channel down like Russian vids used to do that all the time. Like, oh, they're messing with me. You know, Richie from Boston, in my opinion, too. Like, oh, they're attacking me again. And it's not, it just looks contrived. And you see it across 5 or 6 or 7 channels where they're doing this kind of crap. Where it just doesn't look right. And then Jason James Bickford, the reason I trust him at least to some degree is because he would log into his YouTube account and scroll through all of his notifications, show you how jacked up all of it was for trying to get, you know, he couldn't get to any of his comments. They were all flagged as spam, his view counts and everything, but he would log all the way in and go inside of his backside YouTube and show you everything. And he would even do that with his he did that like with his ID and stuff too. Like he took his mail and laid it out there, showed you his home address, showed you his ID without letting you. Like he covered up the pertinent info, but showed you it was definitely him. You know, I mean, that's taking it pretty far, in my opinion. You know. But okay, so what is this, Snake? Yeah, Marty Leeds, I agree.
Are you gonna switch it on to commentary?
Yeah, I'll switch it. I was just getting it lined up. So
Yeah, what are we gonna look at here?
I don't know. It's on YouTube, and I trust Snake Jones. So here we go. Oh, I guess you can't. For the record, folks, you can't push play inside the broadcast software. You have to actually push play on YouTube. Here we go.
For real?
We do not want to do that. We only want to put
For
in
real?
common sense.
Now I'm gonna start this whole thing over again. Let's see.
A common
Are you gonna switch
misconception about
over
our movement
your-
is that we want to ban all guns and we want to take your guns away.
So we can see
We
it?
do not want to do
It
that.
should be up there. Is your delay
Maybe-
just preventing it?
Maybe I was delayed.
All right.
I'm still looking at on the delay. I'm still looking at your title page.
Well, let's just make sure here. All right. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna push play and we'll just see what happens here. I don't know if we're on there or not. I've got it switched over.
Okay, there it is.
All right, cool. Here we go. It's called Real Gangsta.
A common misconception about our movement is that we want to ban all guns and we want to take your guns away. We do not want to do that. We only want to put in common sense measures, such as universal background checks, limit on magazine sizes, waiting periods for gun purchases. Yeah. These measures will be the first steps in preventing future tragedies such as Sandy Hook, Columbine.
Nobody died at Sandy Hook. Quit lying.
Can you turn it up a little bit?
And everything's cool in the mind of a gangster, cause gangsta ass niggas think they
Hell yeah, dude.
up 365, and yo, 24/7, cause real gangsta ass niggas don't sleep. And all I gotta say to you, wanna be, gonna be, cocksucker pussy.
That's pretty good, Snake. Now we're gonna get the shills attacking us. Everybody do your own searching, you know, everybody do your own searching and figure out what you believe. But yeah, so that was pretty cool, man. That was you actually just standing there at the rally. And you get to, I love when the cameras panned out on any of these alleged events too. You can see that any of the press they get makes it look, distorts the size and the effectiveness of the whole thing. So here we're getting, I've started an argument. We're getting controversial at the end of the show here.
I forgot to watch that. Hold on.
So that video we just watched is actually Snake, who's in the chat, at an actual anti-gun rally with the it looked like it was like anti-gun and gay rights all at the same time there.
Huh. I had to step out for a second and watch that video. I'm on the delay here, so
Oh, I see. But yeah, Snake also said Marty Leeds. If you guys haven't checked out Marty Leeds, that's someone I found Marty Leeds through Jason James Bickford. That's how I found him. He did this beautiful piece of gematria with the knuckles on both hands and talking about the number pi and all of that stuff.
did he do the 14? Like the John Podesta sort of no, maybe he did 23. I'm thinking of something else. Did he discuss John Podesta's 14 and fish?
I think he did. I think he did too. And then Tracy did something after that. But I think
Yeah.
Marty Leeds did too. I used to follow Marty Leeds on Insta. I'm not sure if he's on there anymore. He's a decent guitar player, musician. He's pretty good. It seemed like there was something else we were going to pop up here real quick, and now I done got
You want to watch
distracted.
the Alex Jones at the chicken?
Oh yeah, I'll do that. So that's what I was thinking of here. So let me type that in. If I type Alex Jones Chicken Restaurant.
Can you screen share with me, or does that mess up the?
Well, we could try. Well, if I'm going to put this up there, it doesn't matter anyway. So here.
Because I'm on. I have to watch it with a 8-second delay. So.
Yeah. So I'll let me switch this. No, you're all right. Here, I'll switch it back over. So that should be there. And now, if I go over here and click screen share, and I should be able to screen share just the video like that.
Okay.
And that
Cool.
that should give it to you.
Awesome.
You see it?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Alex Jones apparently getting confronted or having some problems at a restaurant in Texas.
You're a bunch of wimps. You're a bunch of cowards, and you're idiots. You think getting in my face makes me feel bad? These people are all sick of your shit. They're Americans. They're not traitors and scum like you. Probably working in your life. See that
I can't hear
fat,
it.
stupid slob? You think your ridicule matters to me? You're a follower. You're not a leader.
Hey, when are you due?
What doing your clearing, boy? You ain't tough.
When are you due, Alex?
Yo, I'm a fucking anarchist, bro. Come on.
When are you due,
Man,
Alex?
aren't you? No, you're the one acting all powerful, punk. You're the one telling people eat shit. You ain't nothing, boy. I know jack shit. I was already leaving. Go back to your apology tour. Yeah, my apology tour? You've never been more successful. Oh, yeah. Oh, you support censorship? You're not an American? Look at this guy. All I'm getting in my face. You tell him to leave it alone. He's the one getting in my face telling me to leave. Dude, you ain't an American. You're a slob. We never would have founded the country with big ass wimps like you. Look at you. No, keep them coming. No, you're the one who wants to run your fat, lip-tard mouth.
Guys, everybody calm down.
Look at you over here. This is the real world right here. You guys are all pissed because you got extra chromosomes. I get it. Woo! See, this isn't the internet. This is the real dimension. Woo! So you libtards don't like free speech in America. That's good. So you got it? Don't listen to your NPR and all your other bullshit. Yeah. Hell, you're all them up. America and the world is awake to anti-free speech scum like you and bullies like you. And we're standing up as you You know the good thing about you guys, though? You've all got an instinct not to breed. Your body rebels against you, and none of you have kids. We've got 3 of them. That's right. Well, you know what? They're all going to rebel against you. Yeah. Let me just tell you something. Why'd you leave some other shithole state to come here and crap on Texas and turn it into a horror? Yeah, I bet you are. What you are is a punk. You told me to get out of here, man. You told me to get out of here. I ain't going, hey, you're a big man. You're a big man. You came to me. You're a big man, punk. You're a big man, punk. What you are is a coward. Hey, can we close them out?
That's what happens when you let Alex Jones eat it.
This guy's starting to fight right here.
Alex Jones is minding his own business. Okay.
And they came over to my table.
It's a pretty good show.
So they boot him, Jim? Is that what happens?
Did you say they booted him?
They did. Is that what happens? I mean, it's going on. It's going to go on another full minute. You guys want to watch the rest of it?
Yeah, I'm a little disadvantaged because I can hear your microphone, but I'm not hearing the audio from your computer.
Oh, weird. So it's not picking up my audio. Oh, it's on my headphones. I forgot, dude, that I don't have speakers plugged in. But yeah, we're like 3 minutes in, and you said I just remembered you saying that they booted him.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if he was on his way out in the beginning, and then, but yeah, they think they do boot him.
Yeah, because I don't want to watch another whole minute of these people just all running their mouths here. So I'm gonna get it back over here to you.
They should have kicked those people out, I think.
Stop share. There we go. That should make it right.
Definitely were harassing him.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he knows the liability of sitting in a public place just as anybody. Like my buddy tried to get me to walk up to John Stockton at a hotel restaurant and get him to sign his marijuana vaporizer. He's like,
What's
here,
that?
my friend had his marijuana vape in his backpack, and he's a disabled person, and we're sitting at breakfast in Boise, Idaho, and I'm looking at this guy sitting over here, and I'm like, that guy seems so familiar, and I'm like, and basketball is in the back of my head, but I can't figure it out. I'm like, is that like my high school basketball coach? Or I didn't play basketball, but I knew the coach because he was like my math teacher, right? And so I'm like, what in the hell? And then it finally hits me like, oh my gosh, it's John Stockton of the Utah Jazz, you know? And so as soon as I realized it, my buddy's like, dude, my vaporizer's in the back. He won't even know what it is. Go over there and have him sign it. I'm like, no way, man. No way. I'm not. I told him I'm not interrupting John Stockton trying to have a quiet breakfast. But John Stockton knows the risk he runs when he goes to sit down in the hotel restaurant, you know.
Yeah.
And I agree that, you know, people shouldn't hassle. Even Alex Jones, just let him be peaceful and do whatever, you know. Of course, I feel that way about almost anybody. I could see somebody I really don't like. I'm not going to hassle them. Because it's just rude, you know. My mama raised me better than that, you know.
Well, and it was pretty frustrating how those people harassed him, and he kind of defended himself and harassed them back, and then he gets kicked out of the restaurant, and they get to remain.
Yeah, I think that's kind of screwed, but I also think that the other option is for the staff. They know if they dismiss Alex Jones, then everything will probably chill out. Whereas the other way around, like, well, we're closed. You know, what else are you gonna do?
I have to kick everybody out.
Yeah, you can't start singling out the people that aren't famous. You know, that's gonna make it weird.
Yeah.
But it makes me curious to see what was happening prior to all that. Like how much were they really antagonizing and trying to get Alex Jones' goat before he finally started freaking out and videotaping him and stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to see Alex's video. Be pretty cool.
I mean, I can't give him zero credit. There's a lot of stuff I learned from him back in the day. I just got sick of him not, like, A, he's such a fearmonger. B, from that back then till now, Alex Jones has completely stopped really covering the extreme stuff. Like, he used to cover the really extreme conspiracy stuff, and he doesn't really do that anymore since he's kind of become a right-wing pundit, you know. I'd say he's really far out still, but he's kind of drifted closer to away from the true fringes, you know.
Did you ever see the deposition that he did about the Sandy Hook stuff that he was talking about? It was like a couple hours long. I watched it.
I just saw a couple clips. I can't hang with it.
It was pretty entertaining, I think. That lawyer was just out for blood, trying to trip him up, and he did pretty well, you know, not getting all tripped up. And then he said one thing at the end about how there's so much stuff going on. He was kind of in a psychosis of whatever he said specifically. And that was the title of the video is like, Alex Jones says that he was in psychosis. And it really wasn't the way that he intended it. You know, he didn't say that I was suffering of psychosis. He was just kind of making an analogy of how the conspiracy stuff glosses you over. And they took it way out of context.
Yeah, that's what they always do, right? They always
clickbait.
That's just that's, I mean, one of my very favorite depositions. If I thought that we wouldn't get our video or channel flagged, I would go throw up that Lil Wayne deposition,
Yeah, that is. I don't think we'll get flagged. You think?
I don't know. I mean, they just got me trained. They got me policing myself.
You could do 20 seconds at a time. I think you'll be safe.
That's true. I don't know. Do we want to jump from Alex Jones to Lil Wayne? I don't know. That might be like maybe we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
I really love Lil Wayne.
Because it's great. If you guys have never seen Lil Wayne being deposed, he pretty much clowns this lawyer out and threatens him right in front of the judge, and the judge doesn't do anything. If I was that lawyer, I'd be kind of afraid. Yeah,
Moloch is a bull god, not an owl, also.
I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was reading the chat there.
And so I agree with Krista in the chat that if that's actually Bill Hicks, he's really fully developed into the role of Alex Jones, where it doesn't seem like acting at all, you know? I mean, to me, it's a really psycho idea to imagine fully taking on another character where it has to become a permanent thing, you know? That's so weird. Such a weird idea.
How hoarse is his voice, too? I mean, after doing that rap loud,
yeah, just me.
Voice.
Just me pretending to do it sometimes. It gets you a little tickle.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So let's just plan for next week to do a call-in show for sure. I like that idea.
Yeah,
and,
that's a good idea.
I guess we're going to have to solve the call-in problem, too, because the way Tracy was doing it was with Skype.
Well, we could get a Skype.
Well, I think you can just call into Zoom right here, too. You can just give people a number right here. If I click invite.
Could you copy it into the chat? Have somebody jump on?
Oh, yeah, you can just make the URL and just drop it in there, and then people could just pile in. Or we can put it someplace where they can find it, like over on the Discord. Oh, that's another way we could do it. I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
We could just do that. We could just use the Discord next week and have call-ins that way. And we'll mess with it somehow before we do it, you know?
Yeah, we might need some help from our Discords. Our peeps.
Yeah. It shouldn't be that hard, but we can figure it out. Your camera got blurry or something.
My camera?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe when you stood up and moved around, it stopped focusing in on you all the way. Can you see that in the shot? It looks like it's looks blurry. It looks kind of weird.
Was it? Still blurry?
Let me see here.
Not very blurry on my end.
Oh no, maybe it just looks that way because of the. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I forgot it does that.
You what?
If you change the aspect ratio on the screen for your Zoom, it changes it real time. Like so, if I drag. Whoa, is that feedback? Oh no, that's the bell. That was so loud, dude.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Rest in peace, your eardrums, if you're like me wearing headphones right now.
Hello.
Yeah, but welcome back, folks. Thank you for joining us. I think we're getting about 10 o'clock here. I feel like we hit that low spot where we'd have to come up with a new idea to keep going. So let's just call this Rx Only Picture Show number... What did I say it was? 12? 13?
It is 53.
53. Oh yeah. Should I read the temporary number vibration again? I couldn't believe how accurate it was.
Yeah.
It's like,
read it again.
All right, I'll read it one more time, and then we'll give everybody a great big hearty okay bye, and we'll just plan on doing some call-ins next week. Looks like Harrison says he's got some ideas for call-ins.
Good idea. Yeah, let's have a meeting about it in Discord.
Yeah, I agree. Let's check it out and make sure it's going to work. And so here we are again, 53/8. as a temporary vibration. Now think of this and everything you've seen in the last 2 or 3 weeks, culminating up to this very moment. Sudden events, courage, discrimination. Someone or something is about to catapult you into or out of your life. Someone or something is about to catapult into or out of your life. The situation is intense. You should play the aggressor and take things into your own hands. Keep your emotions under the command of reason and act justly. Challenging situations arise suddenly. You will need strength, courage, and perseverance to handle them. Business, finance, and the law may be involved. Deal wisely with whatever you encounter and use reason to discriminate among the facts presented. Then you will overcome all problems and maintain or achieve a position of authority. During this period, troubles come and go. So I'm going to go ahead and read the other. It gives correspondence to tarot and to astrology. So the tarot symbolism.
How long is this period going to be?
It doesn't say how long.
Oh.
But it says it comes and goes, so that's good. So the tarot symbolism is the Knight of Swords. The Knight has a lot to accomplish during the autumn season. He rides far and fast, riding against the wind, shows that no effort is too great and no obstacle too severe for him to overcome. His raised sword shows him the true path by dividing the true from the false. And then the astrological correspondence is autumn, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. During the fall, people prepare for the long winter by storing supplies. Oversight can mean disaster. Because you have an eye for detail, you would make a good detective. You are determined and may even at times seem severe, but you must be able to maintain a balance and discriminate between the useful and the useless. You are courageous and have leadership potential. So, interesting. That's far out, man. It reminds me of the time that we read 27, remember? It was
Yeah.
the very first time that Tracy joined us. So.
Oh, was it? What episode was that? Was that number 27?
27. I remember because 27 is my lucky number.
So Krista asked, SB, why are you into numerology and not so much into tarot?
Well, until just recently, I always saw tarot as just a system of divination, and I really don't use divination. What in the world? I think I think we just lost Jim. So let me see if I can get him back real quick. That's weird. It just bailed on me. It shouldn't be a time limit because I pay for this thing, so I don't understand what happened there. Bear with us here, folks, and we'll get Jim here officially so we can say goodbye. Let's It's going to be just a moment, folks. I'm trying to get into my email right now and send Jim a new invite. I don't know what happened. It just died. All of a sudden, it just died and said that it was converting the recording, and I didn't even think I was recording. So let's just get Jim back in here real quick. All right, there's a message sent. Oh, look at there, Jim's calling me. Now I'm getting it 10 ways to Tuesday here. Hello. Hey man, it just dropped you. I don't know what happened there.
You want to send another hangout to my email?
Yeah, I already did.
Okay, cool. Let's see. There it is.
So yeah, just jump on back in, bro, because I'm got too many hands in the fire here.
I'm hopping in. Okay.
Okay, bye. All right. Well, let's see. What can we do? I'm going to put you guys back on memes for just a second here so I can get this adjusted. So when Jim pops up, that he's... Oh, that looks fine. That looks fine. And we're back! Sorry for the technical difficulties. That was messed up. I don't know what happened, man. It just bailed on me.
Yeah.
Man down, man down.
Try this. Is this quiet? Am I quiet again?
It sounds about the same, but I got headphones on and I didn't. I was listening with speakers before. These headphones on, I probably would have been okay.
Now, or does it sound quiet now?
No, that sounds loud and the other one sounds quiet.
So this one's loud?
Yes.
Okay, I'll stay here then.
But yeah, so back to what I was saying exactly. What Jacob Bacchus is saying, tarot's way more than just divination. There was a time when that was really the main way I thought of tarot readings, was just divinatory. And, you know, the I Ching is the only thing I've ever found that really works for me and makes me feel comfortable. And I use it very sparingly and very rarely. But I've never really been into trying to know the future, or, you know, if I'm really curious of how things are going in my life and I'm not certain of things, my typical answer is to find a quiet place, kneel down on one knee and say a prayer, you know. Say, hey, what's up? Things seem weird, God. What's going on? You know, and that's usually how I do it. So until I started to realize that there's a lot more ways to use tarot to teach yourself about life that doesn't have anything necessarily to do with trying to see the future or find out about secret things. You know, it's not divining, that you can just use it as symbolic correspondence and all these other things. Then I became more fascinated with it, and I never really have studied it. So, I mean, you know, I kind of pick and choose my battles, too. I'm already like a scatterbrained dude when it comes to, like, I look at everything all the time, all the different categories and subjects across so many different fields that now that I'm getting older, I feel like a lot of the time now I'll just intentionally say no to a whole bunch of stuff. Like, where in the past I would have definitely at least still considered it, but now it's like, no. Like, I got to start hewing down and honing down what I'm willing to try and take on, because I don't have forever left on the earth, and if I'm going to get good at anything or become knowledgeable at anything, I'm going to have to knock it down to, you know, 5 or 10 subjects for the rest of my life. Otherwise, I'm still just sampling the entire a la carte buffet. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had a pretty creepy tarot experience with my ex-wife. She thought she was pregnant, and she got her tarot cards out and drew 6 cards. You know, shuffled them, drew 6 cards, and pretty much the card said that she was going to have a baby. Like, you know, I don't remember exactly what the cards were, but it was eerie. It was like things are going to change. You know, new birth, all of this stuff. And she was like, no, I'm not pregnant. And so she shuffled the cards again and drew another 6 cards, and they were exactly the same cards in exactly the same order, in exactly the same up and down orientation as they were the first time. And we just about shat ourselves.
Yeah. It's like, well, let's burn the house down and we'll start with those cards.
Yeah. It was eerie. And then we went to a psychic fair, and she got her palm read, and she didn't tell the lady anything. She just went to get her palm read, and the lady said that she was pregnant and we were gonna have a daughter. And we didn't tell her she was pregnant or anything. She's like, do you have any questions? And she's like, no, I'm not gonna say anything. And the palmist kind of figured it out, and we did have a daughter.
Wow.
So
yeah, so that's
pretty interesting.
Yeah, what you're describing is one of the main reasons I've always avoided this kind of stuff. Not 100%, you know, like we played with a Ouija board when I was 13 or 14, and it accurately predicted the winner of the Super Bowl that year, which coincidentally was my favorite team. And you know, the guy who was doing it, it wasn't me when they predicted that. It was 2 other guys. But the guys doing it hated the San Francisco 49ers. So even as a joke, they wouldn't pretend to say that's who's going to win. They wouldn't spell out 49RS. I remember there was no E. It was 49RS. And even if they did, the likelihood that them making a joke that my team would win and then them actually winning is like really low.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, I don't want anything to do with that, you know. Life's weird enough without knowing what's going to happen tomorrow.
Wait, wow. Yeah. When I was in college, my freshman year, I took a folklore class, and for one of my projects, I asked everybody that I could if they had a ghost story. And I lived in a frat house, and this one guy, he was very believable. He said he was like, don't tell anybody about this because it really freaks me out. And he apparently moved into this one bedroom in this house. And this house used to be an old folks home for a long time, and then it became a fraternity house like years later. But he said that he woke up in the middle of the night and there was this like sort of spectral, a green, like sort of a smoky old man, and he was like standing at the foot of his bed, and he like took 3 steps towards him and bent over and like leaned down, and like he was gonna touch his nose onto my friend's foot, and he screamed, ran out of the room, and never even went back in there to get his stuff. He had his twin brother move his stuff out of there.
Oh, he was a twin too? He was a twin?
A twin, yeah.
Yeah, twins are tripping.
He told me about this and described the old man, you know, like wearing like overalls, and he had like sort of a prospector beard, and I just filed it away, you know, whatever. And then 2 years later, my friend, his girlfriend was there, and she was a freshman. So this was like somebody that wasn't at the college when I heard the story. And these people were you know, drinking some beers and playing with the Ouija board in an upstairs room, and they were talking to this ghost. Said he was a ghost, and like weird stuff started happening, like the lights were flickering out, and this girl was kind of psychic. Like she told me, she was like all shook up because after they were talking to this ghost, she ran out to the hallway and saw this spectral old man, and she described him exactly how my friend had described him to me before.
Whoa.
Like a green, angry man. It was a trip.
Yeah, the wedding I went to, that place, the Edgefield. No, it's not Edgefield. The McMiniman's Grand Lodge is a far out trip, and that's a piece of research I need to do. Maybe if I find some leads, we could do a show. So, and we'll close it up with this, man. Here's another idea for a future episode, last brainstorm of the night. So, McMiniman Brothers are a couple guys who they go around and they buy cool places. Like Jem was the first guy to ever take me one. There's a place called Edgefield. It's out in Oregon. It used to be a poor farm, and there's like 6 or 7 reasonable sized buildings, and they've converted them all into like wineries and breweries and bars and restaurants, and it's a hotel.
Every inch of the place is painted up with creepy, awesome.
Yeah, it's all occult, esoteric,
yeah.
Freemasonic stuff, like all this stuff, right? So they're kind of in the Portland area. Outside of Portland is one called the Grand Lodge, McMinim's Grand Lodge. And what it is it was an old folks' home specifically for old Masons, old Freemasons, and next to it was what they called the Children's Cottage, and it was supposed to be an orphanage for kids. And it's the same, only times 10, Jim. They've got art and music posters and everything. It makes Edgefield look subtle, honestly. Like, it's so over the top because it's the Grand Lodge, right? I mean, it's like the Masonic place. And in the history of it, I looked up the history and I asked one staff member, and they confirmed it, that the old men and the children had such consistent falling outs that eventually they took the kids away. They moved them out of the orphanage that was built there specifically for them because
Right
whenever
to the lodge.
What's that?
It was built right next to the lodge.
Yeah, it was like a great big building, almost as big as a hotel, and then a smaller building that was still a substantial building, still like a 3 or 4 story building. And the staff member told me, she's like, yeah, and it freaked me out because the second building, they use it for weddings and stuff, but it's not really open or accessible. You know, I mean, you can go in there, but it's not. There's no functionality. There's no restaurant. There's no bars. There's nothing going on there. It's just an event. It's an event focused building. But she said, yeah, there's bars on the basement windows, and I'm like, what? And so as we were leaving the place, me and my girl are looking out of the car, and you can see that on the basement windows of the orphanage there's bars. And so I want to go find the old news articles and the old press back in the day. This happened in like the 20s or whatever, maybe a little bit later than that, but I'm pretty sure it was like in the 1920s, and find out if we can source the original information from that, the old newspapers from those small towns right there in that area, and find out what's the real backstory as to why the old Freemasons and the orphaned children had to be separated from each other permanently, So.
Yeah. That is strange.
Yeah, it was far out, dude. It was far.
What was their relationship to each other? Or was it who knows?
No, yeah, that's what I want to know. Is it just like, in my mind, I thought we could write a funny kind of Hollywood story where the kids won't stop attacking and messing with the old men, and it becomes like a war, like you could make it a lighthearted comedy if you made it into fiction, but that's just me. That's just my imagination running wild. I don't know what really happened, and I'm really curious to find out, is it like really dark and horrible like some of the other stuff we've covered, or is it just that, like, the old men are grumpy and the kids won't leave them alone, and the old guys keep like smashing them in the face or something, hit them with a cane or spank them or punch them or something, what is it? Is it just a few repetitive allegations of abuse or whatever, or is it like really dark and weird? I'm really curious to find out now. So that's it'll take some time if we're going to do the searching and finding real information on that, because you'd have to get into real archives and maybe get the microfiche or pay for access to old newspapers online. You know what I mean?
Maybe we should write a screenplay from an orphan's perspective.
Yeah, we
Some
could.
kid ends up in the orphanage, and there's this mysterious lodge next door, and stuff happens. But who knows what? Then the kids start whispering secrets to each other about what they think is going on, and rumors start spreading. And
I don't mind the idea of brainstorming a story, because that was my original idea. It was like, oh, you could make this into the foundation of a plot, without knowing any of the backstory. Just the one, like, there's just a paragraph on Wikipedia that says, eventually the kids and the elderly had to be separated because they redundantly had problems and couldn't get along. And I was just like, whoa, what a trip,
Maybe we should have our meetup that we've been kind of talking about. We should do that at an edge field. Everybody come out and have.
If we're gonna do it, we should do it at that one. Like, everybody, look it up. Look up Edgefield McMiniman's Grand Lodge is the one, man. It's the one, because it's completely esoteric occult symbolism throughout. Like it was freaking some of the guests that were with us at the wedding party out. Like, some of the paintings are so spooky and weird, and it's haunted too. It's haunted. There's a lady called the Lavender Lady, and they've got a portrait of her on one of the doors that goes upstairs, and there's a mirror next to her head, so it looks like a window. And so it's a really good artistic illusion, because you look all the way down this long, long hallway, like more than 100 yards, down this hallway, and there's a beautiful oil-looking painting of this little old lady in a dress, and where there would be usually a window in the door, like, how a stairs door usually has a window in it, where that window would be, instead, it's a mirror. So you're looking down there, and you're like, oh, that little old lady looks weird. And so you go like this to see, and you see your reflection in the mirror move. And so you go, oh, So at least one guest that was part of our party refused to go in that hallway and go anywhere near that door, just because it's spooky Well, then you go walk up and read the little captions. Everything's captioned, too. They've got little stories and everything about all of it. And you go read it, and that lady was supposed to be a real lady called the Lavender Lady, and people claim they smell lavender and that they see and or hear this woman still in the building, that she's haunting the place, you know? But yeah, I think that's I would love to plan for it to be, you know, at McMiniman's Grand Lodge would be a great place for a meetup. Great.
That would be
It'd
cool.
be amazing. So
Edgefield's pretty sweet too. They've got a hot springs and a lazy river.
yeah.
You can tool around in, but
I
I'd
didn't
like
know
to.
that. I never saw that. Where's it, inside or something?
Yeah, there's hot springs on the west side of the building. They got spas and hot springs.
Yeah, because I've never stayed at that one. I just went to that concert with you.
It's like a long ziggy-zaggy sort of loop with jets blowing you in one direction.
Yeah, I love lazy rivers. To me, lazy rivers should be the main form of transportation in the city.
That would be awesome. It's totally Bob Dobbsy.
Yeah. And if you're in a hurry, you got to take the fast water slides. And then have dry suits that you could zip your work clothes up so you don't get wet.
Maybe we can mandate everybody wearing, those old school full body bathing suits for office attire.
Yeah. Even better, yeah. Yeah, just make it a new policy that it's okay to show up to work wet.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to have a meetup there.
Yeah, let's just keep that a tentative back of the mind idea. So yeah, but I gotta go to the bathroom again. I think we better really call it this time. And I don't know why it killed it on you there. That was weird. So it just bailed on you.
Yeah.
It's weird because it said it was what did it say? It said it was converting the thing into recording. Oh, I just messed it up again. Trying to see
I'm
if
still here.
Yeah, it doesn't say it's recording right now. I know you can record on here. I recorded something earlier. Yeah, it's there. See, it's not recording. So, anyways, let's call it a night, man. Thank you very much, everyone. We still got, let's see how many people we still got. 20 people still here with us. We really appreciate you tuning in. If we ever get any updates on all the strange things that happened, we will definitely keep you guys updated whatever way we can. Thank you so much for supporting the show. There's links in the description of how you can, you can add to and join our Patreon. We're not really posting extra content there yet.